solitude, and it's a game about exploration. You play as Sable, a girl leaving her home to explore this world filled with monumental architecture, fallen spaceships, and you'll travel around on your hoverbike learning about the people, the culture, and the history of this world.
And, you know, I talked about it before. I think this art style is amazing. Where's the origins of this?
So we were really heavily inspired by the clear lines style of French and Belgian comics, as well as Japanese animation, particularly Studio Ghibli. So we really want to feel our players to feel the same sense of wonder that you get from watching one of their films. And so from the very beginning, we knew that we really needed to nail the visual style. And yeah, so we put a lot of time and sort of effort into our rendering system. And yeah, we're really pleased to be able to show it to everyone.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that you two consist of most of the core development, the art and the programming. What about the music that was in that trailer?
Yeah, so that was a new track by Japanese Breakfast.
Oh. Yeah, the T-shirt. Yes,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
right.
So Michelle, she is doing the soundtrack for the game. Japanese Breakfast is one of my favorite bands right now. It's incredible to have
it all just came together so beautifully in the trailer, and I know that you guys are really regular about updating, you know, blogs, sharing what's going on with the development. Where can people go to find more?
So they can go to our Twitter account, ShadowXReg and ShadowXStan, or to sablegame.com.
Lovely, gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining me. Once again, the name of the game is Sable. Our next title is one that has been in development, even showing up in our very first PC gaming show. It's Cloud Imperium Games still hard at work on their title, Star Citizen. Let's see what they have in store.
Ну, прикольно. Рекурсия. Так, ладно. После рекурсии снова давай. Делаем так, делаем так. Делаем маленький повтор, потому что на PlayStation меня не было, а наш второй админ ХТ немножко, да, немножко, во-первых, не слышно было, во-вторых, он немножко уснул. Также сейчас на самом идет ПК гейминг шоу и повтор PlayStation будет, также мы сейчас за 7 минут типа снова, как сказать, такой маленький повтор. Тот, наверное, удалим, потому что там слишком все плохо было. То, что стрим каждый раз подвисал или что-то отключалось. Вот. Что такие дела. Пока что смотрите трейлер от ПК геймов. А я сейчас пойду чаечек приготовлю и покушать, в принципе. Так что не отчаивайтесь.
Coming up on the PC Gaming Show, all new gameplay footage of Just Cause 4, a closer look at The Walking Dead, the final season, all new gameplay footage of Hitman, and now your host, Sean Plott.
As we do each year at the PC Gaming Show, in addition to talking about games, we're also going to talk about some of the upcoming hardware trends. To join me in talking about it is the Senior Brand Manager from Acer. It's Eric Ackerson. Thanks for joining me up here, Eric.
Sean, really excited to be here.
Now, I just want to straight up ask, what are some of the big trends that consumers can be expecting right now?
Well, right now we're developing some new products, particularly in the display space. We want to take the experience to the next level. To help with that, one of our new products is the Predator X27. It's an incredible gaming display. For instance, it's 4K and 120 hertz refresh. The users can overclock to 144. But what really takes it over to the next level is the inclusion of G-Sync HDR.
You know, I hear a lot about HDR. Can you explain a little more in detail what that is and what that means?
Well, there's quite a bit that that goes into it, but for the purpose of this conversation, the fact that there are 384 individual backlit zones, so the backlighting can be individually controlled, really bright, very dark, it makes a better contrast on screen. Each of them are individually controlled. The brightness of the screen is far above a typical display. Typical, you're looking at 300 to 400 nits. We're looking at 600 with the Predator X27 with a max of 1,000 nits.
And, some of the titles that were showcased just now, there's a wide variety of some photorealistic, some with a really iconic art style. How does HDR contribute to that big range we see in gaming?
Well, one of the big things that helps is the color gamut that's available with these displays. We're able to do 99% of the Adobe color gamut, so it's better representing the vision of the art director.
Yeah, and some of the games that you see on screen that support HDR, Mass Effect Andromeda, Far Cry 4, Ni no Kuni 2. Again, you won't see them in HDR right now unless you have an HDR monitor. It doesn't work that way. We can't just stream it to you, but it brings me to one of my next questions about PC gamers tend to have a huge range of possible budgets. What are the different sort of products to look for at those price ranges?
Well, I mean, we cover the gamut from very simple and to the point to high performance esports products or multi-view, surround, multi-display products, but we also go really crazy sometimes. We decide, we put our engineers to the test. What can you do if you have no limit? So one of the projects we've worked on is something called the Predator 21X. This is a 21-inch curved screen laptop with a mechanical keyboard.
How do you
close
the
graphics cards? Science, materials. We did a really good thing. But you know what? To be serious, not just a joke, we actually have to ship this with a Pelican case to protect the laptop, and it sells for $9,000. And we sold every single unit we could make. So we cover every spectrum of gaming.
You brought up this Predator laptop, you brought up Predator monitors at the start of this segment. Where can people go to hear more about or even pick one up once they stop being sold out?
So the good news is that we're shipping now. Our customers, partners are selling them. The bad news is a few have already sold out of this new Predator X27 monitor. I believe Micro Center is still in stock. Amazon will be in stock again soon.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on stage, Eric. Frankie is awaiting in the balcony with our very next title.
The PC has always been the platform for crazy ideas. In our next game, Genesis Alpha 1, you build and manage a space vessel, farm resources, deal with terrifying alien infestations, and explore a vast, randomly generated universe. Oh, and you can take DNA from the aliens you encounter across the galaxy, splice them with members of your crew to create new life forms. Just a typical day at the office. Let's take a look.
Greetings, Commander. You have been sent to Quadrant Alpha 1. The mission is to find a new home for the crew on board of this ship. Expand your ship and explore the galaxy for resources and interesting new life forms. Feel free to experiment with DNA and alien abilities to maximize crew efficiency. Ready your weapons.
Now, if you didn't catch the pre-show quiz, you might be wondering who my buddy is. Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, is Webster from Drake's Cakes, one of the PC gaming show's sponsors this year. And he's got a cool competition for you, the Drake's Cakes PAX giveaway. Oh yes. PAX is a gathering of PC and tabletop games, concerts, panels, exhibits and tournaments. It's like a 4-day LAN party, festival, workshop and concert rolled into one. The very lucky winner will enjoy a trip to PAX West, including 2 tickets and a free trip to Seattle. So if that's you, hit me up on those dates, because I am free. Webster, my man duck, this is very generous of you indeed. And by entering, guys, you will get a discount code to get your hands on some delicious Drake's Cakes available on Amazon. And if you're at E3 itself, don't forget you can meet Webster in person at the E3 Concourse Walkway, where he'll be giving away Drake's swag and tasty treats all week. So if you see him, give him a fist bump on my behalf. I'll take one now. Thank you very much, Webster. So, if you have ever dreamt of spending a weekend knee-deep in one of Earth's best gaming festivals, visit pcgamer.com/DrakesCakes and enter now for a chance to win and hang out with Webster. All right, Webster, all this hosting has got me a bit peckish. How about we look at a trailer for the next edition of Play Entertainment's beloved survival series, Don't Starve, Tablet.
Еще не ложки нет. А я не знаю, что там будет. Ну да, ну.
Our next title is the next installment in a series that never fails to make me laugh. It's Just Cause 4, and they have a brand new engine to bring the level of delicious insanity one notch up. Let's take a look at what the Apex engine in Just Cause 4 can really do.
Oh, just cause.
Joining me to talk about it on stage now, from Avalanche Studios, it's Francesco Antolini and Adam Davidson. Gentlemen, welcome. Talk to me about the tornado.
It's fantastic, isn't it? So it's a very nice piece of tech. It's not just beautiful, but thanks to Apex, it's also a bad boy that actually works. It's fully physicalized.
Yeah.
This means that it's roaming the world, wreaking havoc, and
it's not just like a background piece. It's actually impacting the world.
This is just cause, man. You go there, you play with it. Yeah.
You know, throughout the trailers that we've seen, it seems to be a lot of different environments that are available throughout. Can you talk to me about those?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things to us with this installment of Just Cause was bringing a lot more variety into the game, and that extends to a lot of things, but certainly the biomes of the game. So instead of one kind of region of, like, say, southern Italy, like we had last time, now you have lush rainforests, deserts, grassland, and even alpine biomes, all of which, you know, are rendered beautifully with the new Apex engine.
Now, something that's very important to me is some of my favorite features from Just Cause 3. Can you talk to me about, like, the wingsuit and the grappling hooks? Like, are those coming back for Just Cause 4?
Everything you love from Just Cause 3 is back. But everything is also just better. There's more to do, more to discover. For example, the grappling hook is completely customizable. The combat model has been completely reworked, redesigned, enhanced. So new weapon, new enemies, new AI. We've got extreme weather that interacts with grappling hook and parachute.
The wind that we saw from the tornadoes is just like basic wind effects also get incorporated as well?
Again, it just goes, so not even just an effect. So there is wind, it's physics, and acts with your parachute. Grappling hook.
So well, where can people go to get some, we'll call it first-hand footage of of what Just Cause 4 can deliver?
They can check it out at justcause.com/E3 and for 3 days.
That's right. Believe it or not, E3 hasn't started yet. It starts tomorrow. So June 12th through 14th, you can check it out. Thanks so much for joining us on stage. I look forward to the hilarity of Just Cause 4. Now, our next title is one of my all-time favorite IPs. I can't wait for Frankie to talk to you about The Walking Dead.
Overkill Software and Starbreeze are the creators of Payday and Payday 2. Therefore, it goes without saying that these studios are some of the most talented makers of cooperative shooters, and their next one is set in a familiar but new apocalyptic Washington, D.C. Here's the first gameplay footage for Overkill's The Walking Dead, and keep your eyes peeled for the release date at the end.
Так, все, теперь я вернулся, нормально. Так, это убрать. Так, немножко звук у меня в наушниках убавить. Может, не слишком громко. И дальше начнем. Так, сейчас у нас идет ПК-гейминг, потом уже начнется...
We were so many things. Husbands and wives, doctors and teachers, writers and architects. But when the world ended, all that ended too. Every day we fight for more than survival. We fight to build a new life. Alone, we're weak. But together, we might stand a chance.
And I have more good news for fans of The Walking Dead. Overkill's game for The Walking Dead, of course, coming soon, but we have a second completely different Walking Dead game that we're getting the chance to talk about right now. This is Telltale's The Walking Dead, the final season. Joining me on stage to talk about it is the lead writer, James Windler, and the voice of Clementine herself, Melissa Hutchison. Thanks for joining me on the stage.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Now, I want to ask right away for, people who've played through the first 3 seasons of The Walking Dead, in terms of the gameplay, what's some of the familiar and what's some of the new?
Okay, so for people who don't know Telltale, we are a story-based company. We focus on narrative. We've had our roots in the old-school point-and-click adventure games, but we've developed our own cinematic style and almost a signature mechanic, like our choice wheel.
Yeah.
And that's all familiar. That should, the choices branch the narrative. What's new this year? We have traditionally combat and action. We have done with QTEs and like swipes and button mashes and all of that. This year, with the final season, we're introducing segments of unscripted combat.
Yeah, we see some of this right here.
Yeah, so Clem probably just brutalized the zombie there.
Of course she is.
Oh yeah, so we also have the orbital cam, like the over-the-shoulder camera. So that's offering our players opportunities to explore our environments, which you can also see from the B-roll. Is they're looking really, really good with this graphic black art style that we're employing.
Yeah, because in the previous games it was much more of a directed camera from scene to scene, but now you can really sort of explore the environment on your own.
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah.
Now, I want to ask about the story. I mean, Telltale games always have that as the central feature. Where does The Walking Dead, the final season, start off?
Okay, so it starts, Clementine has been on the road for a long time. We are post-time jump in the comics. She's been on the road. She's traveling with AJ, who is an orphan boy, who is the closest thing that she has to family. but they're reaching the end of it. They are like running out of steam on the road. It's like proving to be untenable. The final season, Clementine discovers a school, a secluded school, where there are no adults, and essentially sees that this might be a place that they could call home.
Yeah, and what are the sort of challenges that she's going to face throughout the season?
Oh, all kinds of challenges, yeah. Like zombie threat all the time.
Tough.
Yeah, of course. And then there's always the external threat. Like at some point there are going to be adults coming in representing external threats that she's going to have to deal with.
Now, Melissa, I want to ask what your experience has been like, because it's rare to have a voice actress journey along with a character in a multi-year journey. I mean, how long ago was the first recording that you did?
Well, it was 2012, but we might have even started in 2011. I don't know.
We're not going to do math on air.
Yeah, we're
That's
not
always
doing
a bad
math.
idea.
That's not happening right now. It's been a long time, and it's not only just playing one character. It's actually been aging with her, growing with her, and falling deeper and deeper in love with her, and starting as this young child who's, playing as Lee, it's your job to protect her, and then organically moving through all these seasons, and now you're playing as Clementine. I mean, really, this is a fan-driven game, so this final season is for the fans, and you're going to be playing as Clementine and protecting AJ, and this is just near and dear to my heart. And
how do you feel about the fact that this is the end?
Well, I mean, it's bittersweet. I'm super sad. I'm super psyched. Of course, it'll be sad to end her journey, but I'm really looking forward. Obviously, I'm surrounded by talent with Telltale Games, and I have no doubt that the writers and the creatives are going to crush it. So, sad but happy? It's all very confusing. I'm a very confused human right now. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I'm someone who's played through all of the Telltale Walking Dead games. I would love to know when the final season is coming out.
August 14th. We ship August 14th, and it's available for pre-order right now.
Be sure to check it out. Thank you so much for joining me on stage today. Once again, that's thewalkingdeadgame.com, or you can find it on Steam as well. And for our next title, Frankie, we're going to head back to you on the balcony.
Next up, have I got a treat for you. Coming straight out of Finland from Nolla Games, it's a magical action roguelike that asks, is that a wand in your pocket, or are you just trying to kill me? Don't let the retro art style fool you. Noita is set in a procedurally generated world where every pixel is physically simulated. Let's take a look.
Microphone? Oh, you know what? We do this every year. Come here. Talk to me.
Okay.
How do we run a hospital?
So 2 Point Hospital is a game about designing and building your own hospital. It's
Talk directly at my tie.
You said don't talk there.
Yeah.
I got to look out here, you said.
Yeah, no, just look straight at the ground.
There's a lot of customization. There's Is this not working at all?
Yeah, it's great.
Doing great.
Carry on.
I'll carry on then. Yeah, a lot of customization, a lot of interesting characters in our world, which, with all these different characters, we had to come up with some really interesting illnesses and cures for them. And you have fun in 2 Point County exploring different regions and curing people with different ailments. And as you can see on the screen, we've got... this is real. We actually researched this. It's a certain animal. And also you can train people. You can train your doctors to be better, your nurses to be better. Do research so you can unlock new wonderful cures.
Yeah. You know,
saying everything, isn't it?
Sorry, I didn't know if your mic was working. I was a bit backfilling. Carry on.
Yeah, so, I mean, no, tell me about it. Like, what is the sort of late game sort of experience that you'll be playing through? Because this looks like it's quite deep into the running of a hospital.
Yeah, this is later on. So you start off and you're researching and you're training up staff, you're diagnosing illnesses, and you're hopefully curing them and making money, and then heading off.
I see this malady. Yeah, I see this malady called turtle head. Can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yes. It's when the head becomes so shrunken, it gets stuck in the neck orifice, just pops out slightly, and it has to be extracted. And Mark, how's it get extracted?
This is something you've maybe we've all been there. I know. This is one where a little bit of suction always helps. And
and
it's gone.
And out it comes. Yeah. We had to research how to do that.
That's actually a real illness.
It is.
North
It's real.
England.
Now, I had to ask about something that I think every young man has to deal with at some point. What is a monobrow infestation?
Yeah, well, monobrow is,
follically enhanced.
Yeah,
it's a problem. We've all been there.
Yeah. I haven't.
No, okay.
But it needs to be diagnosed and cured pretty quickly. If it doesn't, it'll fester, and you might shed a bit of hair, and in fact,
it will actually leave the body, and it needs to be got rid of before the health inspectors arrive.
It looks like the monobrows are multiplying in the hospital.
They breed they're big breeders, the monobrows.
They like
monobeasts.
They like dirty places. Disgusting. So you've got to keep your hospital clean and well maintained.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to breed, and you'll have a trouble.
I want to ask about sort of how the game evolves over time, because Theme Hospital was very mission-based. How does the experience of running a hospital change as the game goes on?
Yeah, so once you've started your first hospital, it's a pretty simple affair, and then you move on through 2 Point County. There's different regions. There's a cold region. There's warm regions with contagious diseases, and there's
poor regions, there's rich regions.
Yeah. So we've got volcanoes.
Yeah.
In fact.
We've got all sorts of wonderful. Weird effects can happen in different parts of the world.
So you might struggle to manage your hospital empire because a volcano went off nearby.
Yeah, it's about spinning plates, isn't it? You've got everything set up nicely, and then
something happens.
Thrown at you. So.
Well, I'd love to know more information about when 2 Point Hospital is coming out.
Well, we're coming out fall, and you can check us out by going onto our Steam page and hopefully wish listing. Yeah. And we're coming later in the year.
We're told to say that.
No.
Well, I'm personally, again, really looking forward to it coming out. Thanks so much for joining me, Doctor and Doctor.
Thank you.
Talk about 2 Point Hospital. Now, our second Battle Royale game of the afternoon takes a fantasy RPG-esque bent, and you may have even seen it getting streamed on Twitch in the previous week. Let's take a look at Hi-Rez's Realm Royale. Joining me to talk about Realm Royale is the executive producer at Hi-Rez Studios. It's Rory Newbrough, a.k.a. Dry Bear. Mr. Dry Bear, what separates Realm Royale from other types of Battle Royale games in the genre?
It's a good question. So before you go up into the air to determine where you land on the map, you'll actually choose from a list of fantasy classes like mage or hunter or assassin and specify a unique play style before you land.
How do these different classes work?
So the engineer will be more about bunkering down, putting up shields, putting down turrets. The assassin will get behind the lines using stealth, use a sniper rifle to take out targets. And the warrior will just jump in there throwing axes and being crazy.
You know, in some of the streams that I've watched, it also seemed like there were abilities, not just the loot and find stuff. Can you talk to me about how the ability mechanics work?
Once you choose a class, it'll come with a set of abilities, and you'll actually be upgrading these during the match, but it specifies your play style. And so as you're looting, abilities as well as armor and weapons will come out of the chest.
Okay.
You'll start equipping that and determining the play style you want, and so you can just really specify.
And, you know, you mentioned this a little bit. I've seen it on stream. Talk to me about crafting in the game. I mean, how does crafting work in a game where there's a constantly shrinking play circle?
We're really excited about this. So strewn across the map, there are places called forges. And so once you go to the forge, you'll collect shards from disenchanting loot you find as you're going about. And you'll use these shards to start crafting legendary gear, very powerful pieces that everyone will want.
Yeah.
Once you start the forge, a smokestack will appear above the forge, and everyone comes over to fight.
Like a mini objective, even.
Big team fight.
So I know that Realm Royale is currently available for free on Steam, but I hear that you have some goodies people can check out that are E3 exclusive.
That's right. So free on Steam, we're actually out for less than a week now, and we were already number 4 on Steam charts. And this week at E3, through Mixer, if you stream on Mixer and you're playing, the streamer that gets closest to the Crown Royale will enter into the hype zone, and so everyone will see you you'll be featured on the main page of Mixer, and you'll have a chance to win the Jailbird chicken skin, which is our first piece of cosmetic. It's a little chicken with like a little jailbird, like prisoner outfit, and just box around. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and if you don't know the chicken mechanic, seriously, please look it up right now. Rory, thanks so much for joining me on stage to talk about Realm Royale. Once again, it's for free on Steam right now. Our next game is one that was shown at last year's PC gaming show, and Frankie has some updates of what they've been up to.
Yes, John, as you may remember, our next game is made by a core team of just 2 people. It's called Ooblets, and it's a farming and creature collecting indie inspired by Pokemon, Harvest Moon, and Animal Crossing. This fresh trailer features a first look at their unique combat system, along with plenty of cute ooblets and environments. Let's take a gander.
Now, it wouldn't be a PC gaming show without a dash of strategy, which is why I'm delighted that we get the chance to share with you the next in the Anno games. Let's take a look at Anno 1880. Joining me on the stage to talk about it is the executive producer, Burkhard Rathheiser, and community developer, Bastian Thun. gentlemen, welcome to the stage. I want to begin right away by asking, for people who haven't seen or experienced the Anno series, what are these types of games like?
Yeah, well, Anno 1800 is a PC only real-time strategy game. And it's kind of mixing city building together with economic simulation and naval warfare. And at its core, it's a sandbox game. So you have a vast amount of freedom to explore the world and build huge cities.
And I wonder if you could talk to me a little bit about why the choice of the 19th century for this game.
Well, the 19th century, it's such an interesting and rich era. There was so much happening in this era. So we had two industrial revolutions. We had major scientific inventions and also big social changes, and also the creation of the big imperial empires. So it's a really rich era.
And what are some of the elements that we'll get to see from the 19th century in Anno 1800?
So it's kind of, for the player, it's well, basically you start with the first kind of medieval settlements, and then it's a kind of a journey through the 19th century. So it's a kind of, you explore everything that kind of happened in this rich era.
And I understand that you have a very unique take on how to work with the community, how to gather feedback. I was wondering if you could talk to me about what is Anno Union.
So last year at Gamescom, when we actually revealed the game, we decided on, it's pre-alpha, we revealed the game. We invited the community to basically become a member of our development team. So we launched our Anno Union platform. It's a place where we give constant weekly updates on the current development and invite players to give feedback and basically help us developing the game.
Can you give me like an example of exactly how some choices have been steered by the community?
So there's a lot of different stuff we did. So like from feedback we got on our blogs and focus playtests where invited players. We got so much great feedback, which had to completely rebalance the mid and late game of the game. Also, we heavily expanded on core features of the game based on feedback. We said like, okay, that really seems to work. Players like that, so okay. Let's do it, like improve the quality a little bit even more.
Yeah.
But they can also vote on actual game content. So we had a big vote for an AI opponent in the game, for a community creation contest where they could create their own island and stuff like this.
And I understand that some of this footage that you're sharing right now is pieces that people can go to anno-union.com and vote on right now.
Exactly. So just in time for E3, you can go to anno-union.com, check out, we have a vote up where you can vote on one of 5 ships in the game. And that's only the first stage, because in the second stage, we will allow you to design your own ship variant. So the winner of that first vote, then you can hand in your own design nodes, drawings, 3D models, whatever you like. And the winner of that contest will actually make it into the game.
Now, where is the website that people can go to again to get the most information right now?
Yeah, just check out anno-union.com. That's basically our big community platform, and we want to invite especially strategy gamers, PC players out there to come help us developing the game, sharing feedback. Just check it out.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for joining me on stage to talk about Anno 1800. Our next title is the final battle royale of the night, and Frankie is going to be talking about it, and it's a little bit, maybe not what you'd expect.
Publisher TinyBuild is known for discovering distinctive indie developers and bringing their quirky ideas to the fore, with Cluster Truck, Speedrunners, and Hello Neighbor among their catalogue of hits. And now I'm delighted to be able to bring you the world-exclusive reveal of a game developed by Galvanic Games in cooperation with Explosion. Inspired by the Cyanide and Happiness webcomic, Rapture Rejects is Battle Royale as you've never seen one before, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not. Top-down, isometric, cartoony, and basically bonkers. Let's take a look at what happens when the man upstairs makes an epic fail and only beams up the bad people. Introducing Rapture Rejects.
Dear God, every day I strive to be closer to your light. I pray that when Judgment Day, that most holiest of days, comes upon us, when you bring all the good people to heaven, that I may live in eternal glory by your side. Amen.
Little help? Thanks, brah.
Get.
You didn't break the leaves! Smell you later, you old pig!
I can't believe we got to show that trailer. That's so great. Our final game that we'll be showcasing this evening is from perhaps the most famous stealth action franchise in gaming, the Hitman series. Let's take a look at a brand new trailer from Hitman 2.
Welcome to Miami, 47. The innovation race is on its last day, and it is down to the wire. The Providence defectors are Robert and Sierra Knox. A day of high-octane thrills and two very public targets.
Joining me to talk about Hitman 2 is game director from IO Interactive, Jacob Mickelson. Join me up here, Jacob. Come on out, we gotta talk. Assassination.
Hey, Sean.
Welcome, Jacob. Thanks for joining me. I mean, right away, tell me, what is Agent 47 doing in Miami?
Well, he's there to pay a visit to Sharon and Robert Knox, who are part of the Kronstadt Empire. And yeah, we all know how that ends, right?
Well, given that it's a Hitman game, I have some hints. And, you know, I always felt like in the Hitman games, the environment was so critical, trying to study and trying to understand it. What are some of the elements in Miami that will show up in Hitman 2?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Miami is, I think it's one of the biggest events we've ever created in the game. And in Miami, we have, of course, the race as the centerpiece.
Yeah.
But being this super high-detailed sandbox, we also go to great lengths to actually create all the surrounding bits and pieces, like you have here, backstage area. Of course, we also have that in Miami. So pits and paddocks, there's an emergency room, and so on. So all the facilities needed in order for you to kind of make your own way through the mission and take advantage of the locations and all the different disguises and items you stumble upon as you move in closer to your targets.
And in terms of the mechanics, I know that there's going to be a lot of the familiar feels, but what are some of the brand new mechanics that are in Hitman?
Yeah, some of the new stuff is, for instance, the crowds we saw here in Miami. First of all, there's more than ever.
Yeah,
we're close to 2,000 people now in the scenes, and On top of that, we also introduced a new crowd mechanic where you can dip into the crowd if you get in trouble. So as long as they are not fleeing or running away, then they're there for you to hide in, so in case you get chased by guards. Another new thing is the picture-in-picture mechanic where you get information about what's going on other places in the level. So if you're setting up traps and stuff like that, you can kind of keep track of where the important characters are. And last but not least, we have the fan favorite, which is the sniper briefcase is back. But this time it's not only for sniper rifles, it's also for all the other things you want to carry around kind of without causing too much attention to yourself.
And I want to ask about some of the weapons and the disguises that have been showing up throughout these trailers.
Yeah, we go to great lengths. I think the theme of this showing is going to be the fish. It's really it's a studio favorite. We're having a lot of laughs at that, right? And then, of course, you just saw it in the kitchen as a frying pan. So we all know the kitchen is the most dangerous room in your house, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Also counts in Hitman.
And I want to ask about some of my favorite content from Hitman, things like elusive targets, limited time events. Will those be making a comeback?
Absolutely. So there's still going to be escalations for you to kind of challenge the game in many different ways. There's going to be challenge packs, again, new challenge for you. And then, of course, the elusive targets that pop up for a short period of time only. And you have one shot at this or, go bust.
As my final question, the expected question, when does Hitman 2 come out?
Hitman 2 comes out November 13, and if you pre-order right now, you also get access to a new game mode called Sniper Assassin, where you get to play as Agent 47, and also, for the first time in the franchise, you can play along with a friend in the co-op mode.
Well, Jacob, thank you so much for coming out. I'm super looking forward to Hitman 2.
Thank you.
I might be the worst Hitman ever, but I try hard. Now, Jacob, I'm going to thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to escort you off to the right. So you're going to rush off this way, because coming in from the left, for the first time ever, vaguely nearby me, it's the co-host, Frankie. Come here, Frankie.
They let me come down from the balcony for good behavior.
Excellent. Well, Frankie, we did it. The PC Gaming Show is done. Thank you so much for joining us to host this year.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for all of you who came out to the Will Turn and joined us today. It was a blast. Thanks to Twitch chat. I know that everything you said was appropriate and intelligently thought out. And of course, this year we're curating even more great PC games from the Facebook booth in E3 South Hall. Last, and of course not least, a huge thank you to all our wonderful sponsors who let the PC Gaming Show come back for a 4th straight year. They are Hi-Res Studios, Digital Extremes, Archangel Hellfire, Team 17, Stardock Entertainment, Acer, Predator, Improbable, Oculus Rift, Drake's Cakes, Tripwire, Frontier Developments, and Square Enix. We hope you have a wonderful E3 and go play some damn video games. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back to E3 on Twitch. That was the PC Gaming Show. Thank you, Day9 and Frankie, for taking us through a lot of games.
So much.
For PC. We're going to talk about our favorites. I don't know that we'll necessarily get through every single one. We've got a few minutes to chat about it. Of course, then we've got 4 games we're going to be bringing you. And then it's time for Sony to wrap up the second day of press conferences. So exciting little 90 minutes that we've got coming up here. And then up to Sony. But let's talk about what did it for you during the PC Gaming Show. There, again, a lot of stuff. Some of it we knew, some of it brand new. Zeke, thank you for raising your hand. What did it for you?
Yakuza on PC. That was my. I had to change my pants.
You didn't even realize it. It took you so long.
No, I totally. I was just like, oh, we're watching this, and then. I was reading through tweets, and someone else had to say it, and I went, wait a minute, this is on the PC Gaming Show. That means it's coming to PC. Oh, it was great.
All of them.
Yeah.
Excited. I turn to you, I was like, I'm then looking forward for that Steam sale pack that's like, here's 50 Yakuza games for $19.
Apparently, I don't know if it's Zero or Kiwami. I think it's Zero, but it is really cheap on Steam right now.
Should already be on top
check
of that.
it out.
I'm on it.
Check a look.
All right. So we've got a vote for Yakuza on PC, the series.
How are you going with like older games though when you got so much new stuff? Newness coming out.
I know, but like
Maneater, you could be a shark. I want to be a shark.
We saw that, right? Y'all saw that?
You get shark-based abilities? Like what?
A shark skill tree.
That's beautiful.
I heard discussed.
I like it. I like it. Could solve my video aquaphobia.
Yeah, is that going to solve it?
I said Subnautica didn't, but I didn't get to play the bad guy in Subnautica. It's like, maybe if I can be the shark, I can get rid of that. Yeah. So.
Rapture Rejects looks really funny. I don't know what the gameplay is going to be.
It was funny.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the gameplay. It's fun. I'm sure it's fun. I don't know if that's what I'm looking for in a Royale game, but it's cool. It's cool nonetheless. I would like to talk about this year. I was kind of rocked by a game that introduced some really, really interesting mechanics, and I know you two sitting next to me are actually quite familiar with the game I'm about to talk about. That was Eco.
Oh, what a good game. You missed it. It's out there. Download it.
They didn't show it on the PC Gaming Show, but what they did show is the first game, and that was Satisfactory, and that looks awesome.
Massive resource management is my go-to like anytime game, man. And that was just the complexities of it, and like what is the main objective of the game? Is it just to build a factory? But why are you building the factory? Where are you? Is it multiplayer? I want to know everything about this game.
That's the biggest question.
It has to be multiplayer.
Is it multiplayer? Because I was watching the units, the humanoid units in there, and they were all visually similar. Like there was no like character creation, which makes me think. It makes me worry that it's a single player. If it's a single player, I'm going to be a little sad.
There's no way.
Didn't they say it was multiplayer?
I
hope they did, and I just didn't hear it because my mouth was open just seeing the amazing factories that we were going to build together on a server.
Oh, count me out of that.
What?
I do not care about building anything.
I understand.
Destroying things now. I can do that.
Destroying things. All right. Who else? Anyone else?
The Sinking City, Lovecraftian. Anything that's dark and creepy.
Yeah, I had that tank that was all dark, and then you saw something. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
There was talk of Star Citizen. I've already invested like $400 in this game. I own like 3 spaceships in Star Citizen.
This is one of those games. As a Wing Commander fan, it is like
I need it to come out.
Yeah, obligatory to like. I'm also looking forward to that, but have just totally stayed away. Do not own $400 in spaceships.
It was I rode a hype wave one weekend, and there's no return feature.
I just like it that certain games like can go to a conference and just say it's not DLC, but it's a patch, and that's big news.
Right, and everyone's
we got
like,
a patch for this.
We got it,
and we're gonna blow your socks off. And we're not adding a whole bunch of stuff, but we've got like minor bug fixes and stuff. So, that's pretty hype, right?
I'll tell you what. We'll come back. We'll talk about a few more of their favorites from the PC Gaming Show. But let's check in with Okadrin and see what chat thinks as well.
Hey, chat, we're back. It's our turn now. E3 check-in stage, powered by Totino's. Now we have a very simple question. I'm going to be honest, I don't expect any of you to tell the truth, but we're going to try it. It's how many of these games can your PC run? With one answer being, all of them? Some of them? Yikes? None of them? Or I'm on a Mac?
This is the best.
Which, by the way, it's not a dig at Mac owners. If you're a Mac owner, congratulations. I like doing Creative Studio too. It's a lot of fun. But this is for like the gaming stuff. All of them in chat right now, people are bragging in chat. This is like people asking, how good are you at Overwatch? Oh, yeah, I'm Golden Masters. No, you're not. I expect honesty. It is a nice question. Thank you. Yikes, none of them? Really? Commander Rabbit, yeah, freaking Totino's. Is there a problem with this? At me. At me on Twitter, at Okadrian. We're closing the poll in like 5 seconds, so if you guys have time to type in right now, do it. Although, thinking about it, if you're on a bad PC, you probably can't type it in very fast anyway, can you? So let's find out. The winner is all of them. I 100% don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
Come on. I've seen the Twitter like feeds and the Reddit posts, people saying, check out my rig. And there's like one person who has the good rig. And everyone else has like the little hand crank ones that like barely starts up. And online matches to just drop and say, oh, I'm sorry, my PC just turned off by itself. Stop lying to me. Don't talk to me, talk to them. Bye.
Bye. And welcome back. What do you think? People have, it was the PC Gaming Show. I mean, you know, but Star Citizen's a beast, right? Isn't that like...
Yeah, that's going to be a monster. I also, I know I'm not supposed to talk to Twitter the way Adrian does, but I did get an update from Ombre and Sonic Krita that it does run multiplayer for satisfaction.
Thank you. Thank you.
Up to
very
4
much.
right
There we
now. They
go.
said you could try
There
more,
we
but
go.
it might crash it.
We could try more. But wait, it's like early. Is it early access?
It might be. I'm really just waiting for this to end so I can go download it.
All right. Figure that out. You also were excited about. No, it wasn't you. No, you weren't excited
Maybe.
about Shenmue.
What?
Were you?
Oh, no, that was Adrian. That was
right?
Adrian.
Sorry. Oh, Adrian, by the way, he just wanted the Shenmue poll, right?
Shenmue.
I'm sorry, Adrian. I'm sorry.
Wasn't that the game that like got like $1 billion raised in like a second? The Shenmue 3, right?
On Kickstarter.
Wasn't quite $1 billion. Wasn't quite a second, but you're close. See? Yeah.
I exaggerate. I'm sorry.
It was.
I speak in exaggerations.
Mark.
So sue me.
Marcus, are you excited for Jurassic Park?
Absolutely. So to be honest, the fact that Jeff Goldblum like does the whole thing, that's exciting in and of itself. But my good friend Jeff In Control Robinson, I'm going to give him a shout out because there's no other a bigger Jurassic Park fan than him. I wish I could live up to how much he is excited for the upcoming movie, how much he loves Jurassic World, and of course the first 3, with Jurassic Park 3 actually being his favorite, pterodactyl scene specifically, one that he thinks stands out in the whole series. But I'm going to cosplay as Jeff when I stream this game. Just to show everyone how much his love for Jurassic Park actually is. Oh. So, Kelly, to answer your question, yeah, I'm excited for it. Jeff Goldblum, dinosaurs, didn't necessarily see the opportunity to ride on a motorcycle next to the raptors that I raised, but we haven't seen the whole game yet, so.
A couple of smaller titles I'm looking at that I really had my eye on. I don't know how to say it. Noita? Noita.
Oh yeah,
it's a little indie pixelated game underground.
The reddish hues with the really cool
and it had the big bomb. Like it kind of reminded me when the bomb went off. It kind of reminded me of like a Worms bomb like going off. Like remember Worms, that old game?
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
looked cool. Looked like a lot of fun, like a little underground platformer. The other game that I can't wait to get my hands on that I think is going to be hilarious is 2 Point Hospital.
That looked so funny.
I loved it. When I looked, I was like, what's wrong? And then the diagnosis turtle head. And that's funny on 2 levels.
You're so funny. All right, well, thanks again to everyone who tuned into the PC Gaming Show. Coming up to wrap day 2 up, we've actually got a lot of special guests coming in here before Sony. We've got Metro Exodus making a visit, Metal Wolf Chaos, which we saw announced during the Devolver press conference, Overland, and After Party. We're all going to have them right here on stage, and that's to keep you busy until we count down the moments until the last press conference of the day, and then the kickoff of the official conference. That's tomorrow, Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
I missed you guys.
Totino's Pizza Rolls. the skies rained missiles, and the ground burned to ash, and the seas boiled, and people turned into shadows. So let us not fear the heretics at our door. Even with their iron steeds standing before us, stinking of machine oil and shining its heretical light upon us.
Remember, most of the country has been destroyed or occupied. Even those who speak our language might be enemies, by conviction or out of fear.
We will not falter. Let us steel ourselves against them. For this is our hour of glory.
Blood, they will get it. We'll cross it no matter what those fanatics think.
Come for our lives. We will stand firm. So you got me, you damned heretics. Jump!
Hello everyone, Kelly Link here on E3 on Twitch, and I am joined by Rachel Querco, and we have John Block joining us, showing us Metro Exodus. Thank you so much for joining us here, John.
Thanks for having me.
So, Metro Exodus, just like the name says, you're leaving the Metro system. It's an exodus, and you're getting to explore all of Russia. What was the decision behind that?
So with this third installment in the Metro series, we wanted to do something a little bit different. We wanted to take players to new places. We wanted to kind of explore new game design ideas, and you know, our artists wanted to do something new. We've been kind of, as a studio, working within the confines of the Metro system underground for, you know, nearly a decade. So, you know, we kind of wanted to branch out and do something new, you know, for both ourselves and for our fans.
So does this take place directly after Last Light?
So the game does continue on with the good ending, the redemption ending from Metro Last Light, and it also continues directly from the story of Metro 2035, which is the book by Dmitry Glukhovsky, who wrote the Metro series of books, which the game series is based off of.
Oh, I'm sure fans are really excited for that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, especially because when, you know, if you've read the books and you read through Metro 2035, it kind of sets up the story, and it kind of sets up this this epic journey across Russia, and it kind of sets up the whole idea of getting to finally leave and see what's out there.
Now that we're coming out into the larger map of the open world of Russia, are we actually going to get to explore sort of on our own in an open world sense?
Yeah, so Metro Exodus isn't exactly an open world game in the traditional sense. It's still a story-driven game. The overall arc of the progression of the game is still somewhat linear in the sense that you still continue along a story, and but this time, instead of having only linear levels, we've introduced these new sandbox environments that are really large, with each of them having hours and hours of gameplay. And there's still a narrative thread that carries you through each one of them, but it just gives the player so much more options, so much more you know, ability to explore, more freedom to set their own pace, and a whole lot more content than we've ever done before.
I appreciate that you give sort of, you know, a little bit more of on-the-rails open world style.
Yeah, pun intended.
Speaking of the train tracks, the train is the most prevalent thing that you see in all the trailers, and that's their home base. What exactly can you do there or inside the train?
So the train is called the Aurora. The team, the Spartans, Artyom and his friends have named it the Aurora. And the train is what they leave Moscow with, and as they take their journey, you know, across the continent, they will add to it, add cars to it. In this level that we're showing off this year at E3, one of the objectives that the player has at one point is to obtain a kind of a passenger car to attach to it in order to take with them some of the survivors that they find in this area. And it's kind of the home base. So when you arrive in a new area, it's the place that you can go back to where the rest of your team is, where you might get some of your primary missions from, things like that.
So you're saying adding an extra car and saving a bunch of players, is that something, or people I should say, is that something that is possible to not happen? You wouldn't pick up an extra car? Is there any way to customize this train and have a bit of a variability with it?
So it's the train is kind of the part of that core narrative thread that carries you through, and it's part of some of what kind of relates back to the classic Metro style of gameplay and narrative delivery, where there's certain parts that are designed in a way to carry the player through and always be something that the player can go back to know where they need to go, what they need to do, what's going on, and to understand you know, like what it is that they're doing there. So it's kind of that the core of the game, where especially in these big sandbox areas, the player can kind of choose to do what they want when they want, but they can always go back to the Aurora to know, you know, like where they need to go next if they get lost or if they get confused or if they, you know, want to upgrade something or, you know, swap out a weapon or something like that.
Another system that follows the storyline as well is that you guys are having all 4 seasons in this game, correct?
Yep.
And is that going to affect gameplay anyway at all, or is it purely aesthetics and you get to see all of the 4 seasons in beautiful Mother Russia?
Well, I mean, that's certainly part of it, definitely. The game takes place over the course of a year, and through the year, depending on the time of the year it is that the player has gotten to a certain area, it'll be a different season. And in the environment that we're showing off right now, it happens to be spring. And so you see in this environment, a lot of the snow has been melting, and in spring, you know, comes storms, and so in this area there's thunderstorms and different types of dynamic weather that you'll be able to experience within the levels, and the different areas, depending on the time of year, will have different seasons that come with different weather patterns and things like that. And also the different environments are spread out across the continent, so you'll see different types of environments. Like last year, in the trailer that we made for E3, you saw more of a forest environment that takes place in the autumn season. So it's kind of a different contrast to what players are used to in the Metro series, which has always been the dead of winter.
Yeah.
Like very, very cold, snow everywhere, very gray, you know.
A huge thing about the Metro games, of course, is the customization of weapons. How exactly have you guys worked on that for Metro Exodus?
So in previous games, the customization was a little bit limited. You could, you know, maybe buy a pre-configured upgrade to a weapon. In Metro Exodus, we've redesigned the weapon system completely. And now it's more modular, and there's kind of there's like 5 hard points on every weapon, where you can change characteristics of the weapon, physical characteristics that affect the attributes. Say swapping out a barrel or a stock or a magazine, but you can also add attachments, so scopes and lasers and things like that. And it's much more customizable, to where you can take a weapon in its very base form, and you can customize it to approach a situation in the way that you want to. If you're going to, you know, approach a bandit camp in, you know, a stealthy way, you can attach a silencer and maybe, you know, a red dot sight. Or if you want to do something from a distance, you can attach a long barrel and a scope. You know, there's a wide range of options for every different type of weapon. We've also added the idea of maintaining weapons. We've always had a little bit of overheat or jamming that was kind of, you know, dynamically occurring with weapon use in previous Metros, but in this game in particular, you have to maintain the weapons. So when you come to a workbench, as you're seeing right now, you'll have to clean the weapons because dirt, grime, water, things like that will actually cause the weapons to break down more often, and even possibly affect the performance of the weapons as well.
I was looking for more chores. Thank you. Is there I mean, it sounds like you're giving players a ton of options as far as like, is there an option to not clean my weapons? Is there a lot of options as far as, if you're going to give me all these different weapon attachments to approach the same fight, a stealth way, an aggressive way, what are the range of my options here as a player?
Well, I mean, you can, potentially if you don't maintain your weapon and it breaks down, you can, pick up another weapon that you find from an enemy that you've taken out.
So I can just, use them and toss them.
Yeah, if you really want to. Yeah, but I think that players would probably spend time, choosing what they want to use, their tools, and customizing things and trying to hold on to the things that they really like. But some of that comes down to balance as well. But it's part of our, survival gameplay of you need to scavenge for resources, scavenge for ammunition, craft the things that you need, to survive, like med packs and gas mask filters, things like that, and maintain your weapons. It's all part of that kind of survival sandbox gameplay that we're trying to bring to the Metro series this time around.
Sounds very fun. I like to keep my
I think it's fun, yeah.
One of the cool things for me about Metro is, of course, the monsters that we get to see through all of it. In the original trailer I saw, there was a cool zombie bear. What happened to it? Is it still in the game?
Yes, he's still there.
Good.
He happens to be native to a different region than what we're showing this time around. This region happens to be inhabited by a classic Metro creature that people have seen before, called the Watchmen, and also these new ones that we're seeing right now, called the Humanimals. There's different creatures in different regions. Different ones that live above ground, below ground. And different ones that have kind of adapted naturally to their environments, and some of them are completely new because we're no longer in the Moscow Metro system, and so some mutants won't be returning, and some new ones the player will come across, and some will be returning as well. So.
Now, before I send you away, obviously, mobility is very important in this game. You're exploring all of Russia, and sometimes you're going outside of the train. What ways can players traverse the land?
So aside from walking around, in this particular level, there's a lot of water, and so you might find boats laying around that you can use. Also, to cover some long distances, there are zip lines that some of the natives have set up, even to get around themselves.
I noticed that you can still use your gun while ziplining too.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Is there ever any set fights where you have to use your gun shooting down something going down zip lines?
Yeah, you can. I mean, there's certain areas that are inhabited by either creatures or other humans that where if you're on a zip line and you see something, they might be shooting at you. The AI this time around is a lot more dynamic to the environment, so they will interact with each other as well. And if you're ziplining above a pack of mutants, and maybe there's some humans over there, you could maybe get them to fight each other. It's kind of fun.
Thank you, John, so much for joining us here. And to everyone joining us at home, do not go anywhere because, of course, this is E3 on Twitch, and we have more games coming up next.
Trying to lose the fear. сейчас посмотрю, голос у меня включенный. Тимур, напиши, подключен этот голос или нет. Просто видишь, у меня подключен. Чуть потише сделать.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Here we are, Twitch Live.
Я
2018. I'm here with Rachel
презентации PlayStation. Вообще просто палец хорошо.
Nigel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm here at Homeland Security to talk about a game today.
Excellent, excellent. So we're just going to be on our best behavior.
Please.
No talking about bug fuck shit minions or anything like that.
I'd appreciate it if you didn't.
Okay, good. Okay, just to get that out of the way. They'll bleep that later. This is not actually live. We're actually here to talk about Metal Wolf Chaos XD.
Right.
Now this was a game from 2004, and you chose to.
А вот так нормальный? Вот так нормальный? Я просто сейчас не слышу, как что к чему. На стрим зашел Тимур Якупов. Якуб. Тебе привет от нашей команды, ты Коко. Тут мы просто все сидим после вчерашних стримов. Так, пока идет, если проверю звук.
What struck you about this game when you first encountered it, like personally for you?
Где у меня там? Вот. Тебе тоже хай. Вам, точнее, всем. Вот. Сейчас я зайду на стрим. И смотрю, как там со звуком вообще.
Fighting the vice president, who's also in that, right? Over America, and it was crazy, it was fun.
Так, вроде бы все норм. Сейчас я послушаю. Вот, да, все норм. Звук будет фигово, потому что микрофон сам по себе такой. Вот. Я мог бы через наушники эти подключить, но мне неудобно будет потом. Вот. Какие дела?
Did you have to change any of it?
Right now, strangely, we're having to change all the Japanese subtitles.
Что тоже хотел посмотреть на презентацию PlayStation, которая скоро будет. Сейчас сколько там? Там еще немножко будет. В принципе, вот этот, потом Overland будет, Автофайте и... Так, сейчас. Скажешь, через час почти что будет презентация PlayStation. Прослушаем из стрима на Твиче. Послушаем, давай чуть-чуть прибавим. Так пойдет? И микрофон погромче делаем. Сейчас нормально? Понятно. Не, хочешь, после стрима мы пойдем, если что, в принципе, поиграем в Modern Warfare 4. Modern Warfare. Колду, если что, этот... Как бы... На стрим заснимем. И не надо меня перебивать, пожалуйста.
Kind of funny because I'm childish because the vice president's name is Richard Hawk or Dick Hawk.
Dick Hawk. Exactly.
Thanks for getting that in there, Zeke. This would have been an incomplete interview. You're not just
I don't know what will. Figure you out a side bet here if you could slip in Dick Hawk.
You know what? We should have put a bounty on it. I do want to know.
Actually, I just won the bet because it was to get you to say it.
Perfect.
Что за инди-игрушка странная какая-то.
And were there any hesitations from the companies in Japan about giving this to you and releasing it?
Yeah, there was. A lot of conversations. We went and visited them. We saw them here at E3, and the hesitation was this is something that's very old from they've done Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne. They've done the games they've announced here. There's a lot that's happened since then. And it's an old game, and our plan wasn't, like I said, to completely remaster to make it brand new. The hesitation was, is it okay? They think the global audience would be excited about just it's really bringing out an old game with some shine up the edges a little bit, right? We're making a widescreen, we're doing some things, so for sure, but people's reception is going to be okay. And also the question about like the political climate, this is about the president, the vice president, it's a war, a civil war in the U.S. And so we talked about those things, and we showed them actually that tweet I was referencing. Like, look how many people, look at the comments.
Do you have any numbers on that, or?
It was just like for us, we're a relatively small company. It was like 5,000 retweets or something like that. It's huge.
У тебя есть грена? Грена, то есть граната или грена что-то другое?
That's pretty big. And then when you can just Google search it, you see how many people have been asking for it, how many people watch these Let's Plays. So we were able to prove to them not only was it a good idea, but people really, really, really wanted it.
Well, can we get into like actually a little bit of the game itself?
Sure,
like,
absolutely.
Can we? Because I've never known anything about it. What's like the? Is there level progression? Is there?
Что это за игрушка про трансформеры? Я не понимаю сам даже.
When Dick Hawk, as you mentioned, takes over the White House.
So happy.
And Michael Wilson, the president, has to escape. And the idea is you start in D.C., you just move already to you'll see here on the screen is the Grand Canyon. So you're moving around the U.S., the famous locations in the U.S., San Francisco, I think Vegas, Houston is one of them. Hometown Houston.
Страйкбольная?
And you basically are trying to get rid of this infiltration, the vice president trying to take over. So you're moving, it's a very standard level-to-level progression. Okay. You'll have goals to take out all these enemies or unlock this or do that. So it's very straightforward. The gameplay is very action-oriented. It's not any sort of kind of simulator. It's very much action. You have 100 different weapons in the game. They pop out from your shoulders and you select which arm has which weapon. Okay. You're able to dash, or slam, things like that. And it's a fun game, but it's also just so over the top. It's like the story's neat, but it's the presentation of the story that just blows people away. Of the president, asking his secretary to pop up and say, hey, this is what you're on your schedule today. You have to meet with the foreign minister of China for your meeting. You're going to have to cancel it. I have to save America. Things like that. It's very presented straight-faced and like dry, but it's somewhat ridiculous kind of dialogue. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. From Software into that, they see.
Кстати, как тебе этот метро новый Exodus? Просто хотел как бы вне тех людей, которые там в стриме не были, или чисто посмотрели трейлер. Как тебе вообще? По факту. Мне кажется, это что-то новенькое, для метро. Не смотрел? Понятненько. Посмотри трейлер, там уже геймплейный трейлер опубликовали. Смотри, прикольно, в принципе.
And then, of course, translation maybe in 2004 and the recordings of winning the
дайте мне, пожалуйста,
we talked to From, we said it's very important that, again, we're not trying to remake this, and we want the rest of the world that hasn't seen this to be able to play this. So we don't want to change the dialogue, we don't want to change the voiceover, we don't want to change too much. I mean, we haven't had talks about what we're going to do with the mech and how he's going to look. Like, no, we need to keep him just the same. Because people haven't been able to play this yet. This is not a remaster like the remake. They straight up haven't been able to play this before. So we're excited to bring it.
So have you had a lot of hands-on time with this game yourself?
Yes, I have.
And you beat it, I assume?
Да, насчет Dying Light вообще годно было.
It's interesting. I didn't play to play the original version, you have to have a Japanese Xbox and a Japanese version of the game.
Oh, so it won't play in...
It won't play in any other game. So the first thing to do is I put it to PC. And I said, I'm just going to wait because I want to play... Like, I'm going to be that person. I want to be that consumer that plays it for the first time. So I want to wait until some of the upgrades are starting to experience it that way.
Сейчас посмотрим, там на PlayStation-ское обещает, как мне вчера КТ сказал, то, что показывали The Last of Us и прочее. Просто вчера КТ уснул во время презентации. Вот, я раньше лег спать из-за этого. Так что посмотрим сейчас, увидим.
Solemn look at the White House, and a mech blows through it and does a front flip, and it says screaming, it's a president in that mech, mind you, screaming, let's party! It's like, that sets the tone for the rest of the game. I mean, like, that's the most memorable thing. In fact, the first time the trailer, we didn't have the let's party, we just had that scene, and we came down and said something else. Yeah. And From Software rightfully says that you have to put let's party in there, like, that's the identity of it. So, they're good stewards of their own history, and they make sure that they know what people like and what we need to make sure, we present.
I love that. I love that. A game that maybe had been missed by a lot of people. They still have like a reverence towards it and a you know, a want to get it out there in the right way.
Right, doing our research, we looked at it. They have it on their website. This is something that is part of their history, along with Armored Core and a lot of the things they've done. And so I think, I don't know, we're excited that we're able to work with From Software. It's something amazing.
Yeah, right.
And this is a perfect project for us. It's taking an eccentric thing. That's what we do, is find like oddball, sometimes games, to martial arts. This is how we can do it with a big studio like From Software.
What is the difficulty like? Is it pretty hard?
A really good question. It's really easy. Relative to what you know about From Software. It's not hard at all. It gets more difficult later in
у нас сидит Влада, которая писала «Сделай пунь-пунь», КТ и ты сам знаешь, кто еще. Вот этот товарищ, который есть. Я даже сейчас так... Я сейчас просто так сделаю как-нибудь. Я знаю, что у меня...
So what we're going to do is add like a new game plus our hardcore mode. It's a little more in the vein of From Software, so those fans can experience a much more difficult, maybe challenging thing. It's important to us that we bring this game as it was for the most part. Like I said, this import, this like modernized import.
Have you gone through and added achievements?
Уже поздно.
We haven't done that yet.
Уже поздно. Чувак, вы подписались на это. Вы давно подписались на сделку с дьяволом. В основном не видно из-за чисто из-за ноутбука. В основном из-за ноутбука и только задает видно, и все. Меньше вот так можно сделать.
So yeah, we're definitely looking at things like achievements and trophies.
Excellent. Okay.
It will come out later this year. We don't know exactly when, because this is a difficult project to bring an Xbox game to modern consoles like this. It's something that has been lost and we had to pull archives from. So it's later this year, for sure. We just don't know when. It'll be PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One.
Very cool. Excellent. I can't wait to get my hands on it, man. If it's half as good as you're making it sound, dude.
Yeah, Nigel, you sold it, man.
Great.
It's big robots and loud obnoxious explosions and
Dick Hawk, you know?
And Dick Hawk. Absolutely.
Yeah, we all said it. Great.
Thank you, Nigel. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time. Thanks for bringing it. Metal Wolf Chaos XD coming to you, Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation later this year. You heard him say it. Verbal is binding. So don't go away. We got some more stuff coming to you right here live at E3. Stick around.
Хуй, пизда, хуй. А я нашел свой старый телефон. Никакой свой старый телефон. Ладно. Так мы с КТ главные админы.
I love Tostinos.
Oh, what?
Totinos.
I love Totinos. Я просто читаю эти, когда субтитры надо включить, потому что они вообще не выйдут. Типа все. Кстати, настроил я все субтитры. Не настроил, 720 теперь. 720 смотрим. И вебка нормально работает теперь. Так, вот. Сейчас Overland будет, игрушка After Party, игрушка, и там уже дальше конференция Sony. Влад, ты самый первый будешь. Только... Да, Siemens 70, сейчас загуглим. Гладит хуями по этим, по микрофону еще. Что пишешь? Так, Siemens. А70, да? Я подумал так. Он какой есть? У меня такой же был в детстве. Он там еще, знаешь, типа с игрой, типа вот эти коробки надо типа поднимать и убирать, да? Молчать. Не, в принципе, говорите на стрим. Так. Да. Так. Ладно, засекал. Кстати, Тимур, можешь посчитать, сколько, как бы, этот... ну ладно, не надо, я сейчас... Блин, да ладно, забей просто, забей, все, забей. Сосадба. Вас все равно плохо слышно. Че? Почему? Неловко видно, как ты сосешь чупа-чупс? Так, сейчас. Сосание в темноте, новая игра от Ubisoft. Сосать чупа-чупс. Блять, чем я пошло? Давайте не будем опошло. Да, с хайповых аниме-опенингов. Виделка, вот это. Сосушки. Да, тут Тимур пишет, сосушки. Я потому что говорил, типа. Сейчас пока что идет этот. Типа, не пришел, называется, это тема, так что я пока что нет. Как она сделала так? Он не дура тебе. Точнее, дура, но не дура. Так, ребят, короче, я пока что отойду. Нет, покурит.
Welcome back to E3 on Twitch. We're about 30 minutes away from the Sony press conference, and joining us today as a special guest in our studio, we've got Rebecca and Adam Saltzman with Overland, a game that is beautiful, procedurally generated, and also has that post-apocalyptic world that I love. And this is a game that's been in development for quite a long time. So certainly this must be very exciting to just really start to show people, you know, what this game is all about.
Yeah, it's been in development since around 2014. And it's been sort of like living in our house for that long. So yeah, we're like in that last year of development, and we're super excited.
And your roommate that you're ready to like,
it is.
You know,
It's ready to go to kindergarten.
Yeah.
It's like that.
So when you say development, because you guys came up with the idea, you did a bunch of like sort of 2D conceptual, right, development on it as well, and I mean, it's been a long road.
Yeah, Adam can talk a little bit about that. It's actually, it started out as like a very simple, very 2D pixel art. It was like a grid, it was like an iPad prototype, yeah. And then we actually stopped digital development on it. We made a board game actually out of it for quite a long time, and like sort of hammered out the mechanics on that for a long time. And then, yeah, it was 2015
2015, we actually went full development on it, and then it sort of like transitioned into like this 3D thing, and like it's not an iPad game, and became like this much bigger thing at that point.
Awesome. Well, I didn't mean to get ahead of ourselves here. This beautiful looking game. Tell us a little bit about it, as it looks like Adam is kind of taking us through.
Yeah, of course.
The game as well.
So yeah, Overland is hardcore. It's strategy. That's sort of like the genre, and you're on a post-apocalyptic road trip across North America, and the idea is on all of these sort of like grid levels, you are collecting gas, meeting people, and getting out before the monsters basically come and attack you. The more noise you make, the harder it's going to be, so you can't run into these levels and smash and grab. It is procedurally generated, and all in sort of smart procedural generation, so we have like these cool set pieces, so there's nothing in the game that's actually going to be impossible to beat. We don't. We're not mean.
We're pretty mean. Not that mean, but.
So yeah, it starts out on the East Coast, and that's kind of where we are now. And you're driving west. The cars change sort of like throughout the game, so that changes kind of the number of people you can leave with. So if you drive in with a 2-seater car, blow that up. You can drive out with a 4-seater car, or vice versa. You drive in with like 4 people. If you blow up your van and you can only leave with 2, you actually have to leave your survivors behind.
Ooh.
Which, yeah.
Brutal.
It
now
is.
Now we're at choice. So in between the little tactical levels, we have this kind of map view of things where this is also procedurally generated. We have to decide where we want to go. Do we want to go to the kind of the roadblock thing, or should we kind of stock up on supplies first? And
we sort
I think
of surface the things that you could possibly find there, kind of farther away from the road, are just, they're safer usually, but they'll expend more gas.
Right.
And if you want to get gas that helps you get out there, you have to get close to the road where it's dangerous, and you need supplies to survive in those dangerous areas, and you get kind of like caught up in this cycle.
I recognize the kind of, it almost looks like a turn-based kind of thing where you're making one decision and then another decision, but we're not in a situation right now where there are monsters looking for you, right?
There is one on the screen right now.
It's submerged up there.
And we're sort of, Adam sometimes calls this the kiddie pool. So we don't have a tutorial for the game. We have our cityscape. So we just kind of put you in the game. We give you sort of the ability to learn how the game works by making mistakes. And a lot of, like, especially when we take it to shows at PAXs and stuff, we'll like have people die kind of quickly, but then they understand inherently.
Great way to learn.
Yeah, within like 3 minutes, they're like restarting the game over. Like, I got this. I got the UI. I understand how it works. What's always fun, especially at a show, because it's so loud, it's oftentimes hard to hear. And one of the mechanics is the more noise you make, the more monsters are going to come out on this like turn-based setting.
So I want to ask then a few questions based off of the UI, what I see. I'm assuming the bars above are kind of like move or action, how much actions. You mentioned like the sound. Is there anything on the screen that maybe I'm not noticing right now where that would help me indicate I'm making a lot of sound? Or is it literally, as you mentioned, only the audio cues and what you're doing?
If you watch here, like when I kind of wrap up my turn here, I'm just going to try to scavenge a couple more items because it's going to be nighttime soon. It's sunset right now, and night is not the best time. But you need to scavenge sometime. So we have a road flare on the car, so that'll help. But when I end the turn here, you'll see there's some kind of like markers that come out of the little guys. And that lets you know that like they are being hunted.
Okay.
But like all of the dumpsters, the car, like all of these things make noise. So as you walk around as well, your feet are making noise. So the monsters aren't necessarily super smart, exactly, but they will move towards you. And the more noise you make, sort of the faster they move towards you. But obviously it's turn-based, so you can make very calculated decisions, but people get real scared when the monsters are just like.
Yeah, this is a happy, gentle area.
Yes.
And oh boy, okay.
So is a win condition is obviously making it a 3, or if possible, I don't know. I'm looking forward to that. Is a loss condition you're out of fuel?
Not exactly. You can actually running out of fuel is a bad idea, but you can walk out of levels.
Okay.
So you'll walk out of a level, and eventually, hopefully, you'll find either people or a car. The car probably is broken in some way, so you need to fix it, and then hobble along a little bit farther. I have seen people get out of having to walk out of levels, but it gets very difficult. You can have dogs on your squad as well, so you can walk out of a level with a dog.
and then eventually have to find somebody basically to adopt you because dogs can't drive cars. Although that's some of the funnier bugs that we have in the game right now are dogs driving cars. But yeah, in general, yeah, walking out of a level is bad. You want to protect that car. It's kind of like your home. We often talk about it as like sort of the extra crew member, and a lot of our first access players actually treat it that way. They get real scared and they get real protective of their cars.
So here I grabbed a stick and put it in the fire barrel, and now I have a torch, which is giving me a little extra visibility. But the other character does not have any extra visibility, so they're kind of just buddy systeming along here. See what we can find.
Vision being just the square next, it looks like.
Yeah.
And what about, I know obviously fuels is a resource you manage, weapons you seem to kind of be working up. Tell me about that. Well, is there an array of things I could...
There's an array of trash.
Okay.
So we're in a post-apocalyptic America, basically, but imagine like long after the guns are gone, and it's probably taken a little while. So we're out of guns and bullets, except maybe like a flare gun. And what you have left are sticks and knives and pipes, and sticks break. The cars even are like mechanical cars, so like the idea that like all of our cars are sort of like low poly retro, on purpose, because we actually have like a year that this is taking place, but it's lore, it's not super interesting for y'all. But yeah, so as it gets later, there's with some of the other ones that we find.
So what just happened here is there are things called mid-level events, which is where your kind of fortune shifts in the middle of the level. That can lead to a bunch of things later in the game. In this case, it started to get windy, and it's blowing the fire out of the barrels onto the terrain. So we're just going to get out of here before
it burns everything down.
Yeah.
So we only have a little bit of time left. Tell me, how long have you guys announced a release date yet? Are we at a point where we could actually get our hands on this? I feel
you can get your hands on it. We have been running a first access program on itch.io. And we did a thing a couple of years ago where we only released a few keys at a time. People always ask about that, like, can we get it now? But yeah, you can get it anytime. You can go on itch.io and get that, and then we will have more release and launch information sort of later this year. We are in that last year of development, so it's so exciting.
Well, I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for myself, because this is absolutely a game I would like to play. Definitely the procedurally generated, and the fact that it is not probably the same experience every single time is something that as a gamer I really appreciate these days. And it looks wonderful, you guys. You've really done some amazing things with it. So any last things you want fans or people who are seeing this game for the first time to see, Anna?
You said that the lore is not interesting, and I just I know we don't have much time, but a little bite size of the lore, I think I would love to hear that.
Well, so my husband and I are kind of genre film nerds in general, but the idea that the Earth has sort of come up to like an apocalyptic event, like an event horizon, and there's no way that you can win. And the idea that like vulnerable...
No Bruce Willis.
Yeah, there's no Bruce Willis. But that vulnerable people are on a road trip, and a road trip is like, you took them with friends, you take them with your family. Like there's this like nostalgia along with it. Like putting that together with like this sort of gritty post-apocalyptic version of humanity, like, I don't know. That's where it comes from. And yeah, there's conspiracy theorists in our lore and like, journal pages and all sorts of stuff.
I'm excited.
Can't wait.
Guys, thank you so much for coming by, showing us Overland. We still have After Party we're going to be talking about before the Sony press conference, but thank you for joining us for a wonderful day of E3 here. It is E3 on Twitch, and we've got more coming up right after this.
I just can't wait. I just can't wait. I just can't wait until the summer.
Can you feel the fire in your soul, leaping at the chance for love? Can you feel it haunting your senses, letting all your feelings go? But I can feel it rushing through my veins. Your love's the only drug I know. But we've been playing the hand now with death, and we can light it up. I know that we can make it through one night, but I can feel the fire inside, so there won't be no answer tonight. We crossed the line, and now it's clear to see the light behind the soft ring. Believe we'll finally be free.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to E3 on Twitch. I'm Kelly Link, joined by Ezekiel III, and we have Sean and Adam joining us to show off After Party, the tagline being, party your way out of hell. What a damn tagline, man. Explain to me, what is After Party?
So After Party is it's like a buddy adventure where two friends have been very close for their whole lives up until college, and right as they're about to start their new lives together, they die horribly and end up in hell. And then when they awaken in hell, they come to this realization that there's a loophole, and the loophole is you can get out if you can outdrink Satan. So the game is sort of a narrative adventure that think in the vein of like Superbad or Beetlejuice or the Edgar Wright movies, but a playable version of that.
It's funny that the tagline is "Party Your Way Out of Hell" because I'm trying to do the opposite. I think I'm partying my way into hell.
I think we all are.
So, why is there a giant party in hell? I thought it was supposed to be torture and chaos.
Yeah, well, in hell, at least in our version of hell, people are tortured during the day, during the work hours, and then at night they all kind of hang out and drink and go to bars and kind of forget their troubles and become as friendly as you can.
So, like the real world.
Exactly, just like the real world.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So like demons are like clocking out like, all right, see you later, see you tomorrow, Frank.
No, it's literally like they're in the middle of poking people and like eviscerating them, and then they clock out and they go hit the bar and they drink up together and they coexist.
So I nailed it.
Yeah, and the demons are, as you would expect, demons, and the people that are there are all awful people too. And so you've got this mixture of all walks of life.
But the mechanics of the game mostly central around decision making and point-and-click adventure, correct?
Right. Yeah. So the last game we made, it was called Oxenfree, and it was a narrative game where the sort of main power was the player had the ability to choose what they said at all times, so the character wouldn't speak at all if you chose not to. And so we're building on that. This is a game where it's still all very much driven by dialogue. However, you also have drinks, a lot of drinks, and these various drinks can tweak and change all of your dialogue choices. So if I go into a bar and I might want to be flirty or I might want to be aggressive or funny, there's a drink for every one of those situations. And so, yeah, it's a game where you are, working your way through Satan's disciples and trying to get to the big man.
Some of the things I noticed, like, immediately from looking at this game, and even with Oxenfree, the lighting of it is so phenomenal. Like, it's really, really good.
Thanks.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, we worked really hard on that because when you put in the art in the game, it's all based on concept art, of course, and when you make this beautiful concept art painting, like, man, why isn't matching that? And it turns out, yes, all the lighting and getting the colors exactly right, and so yeah, it takes a ton of time.
So these two characters we're seeing here right now is Milo and Lola.
Yes.
And you guys already talked a little bit about their story of them going to college, but then passing away tragically. But I guess fortunately, because we wouldn't have the game otherwise with it.
Right. Yeah. So Milo and Lola are pretty different personalities. Milo is somebody who wanted to really have this great party life and have a larger social footprint when he was in college, and he's just a big geek and kind of always screws it up. Lola could not care less about partying. She is much more the type of person who wants to do something good for the world. And so the two of them have been just like great friends forever, and now as they're, embarking on this new adventure, they both have to deal with their shortcomings.
Now, this is a story-driven game with choices. How does that affect their relationship as you move along in the story?
So basically, how the game kind of starts out is, you know that they've been friends their entire lives, but you're not exactly sure why they remain friends this whole time. And when you die and go to hell, it kind of works out that you forget most of your life. So most of your journey through hell, while you're drinking and partying, they're kind of getting flashes and remembering of how they were and why they were friends, and maybe they weren't the best of friends, maybe they shouldn't have stayed friends this long. So you kind of get to pick and choose both how you are staying friendly with each other at the same time as trying to overcome these obstacles and get out of hell.
And the player plays as both of them, so that's a big jump for us from what we did with Oxenfree. So you basically, like you wouldn't want to play a Bill and Ted game and just be Ted, right? So we basically jump between, or you might, I don't know.
No, excuse me. No, I was nodding because that's an excellent point. I would not want to be either. I want to be both.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you switch between the two?
You do. So there'll be times where the story dictates that, there's other times where the player dictates that, and in the beginning they're very inseparable and sort of symbiotic, and then over the course of the story we kind of push and pull at that relationship.
And when you have the option to choose who you want to play at the time, if you go into a bar, is there certain characters that can handle liquor better or different interactions better?
Basically, every interaction in the game will be based on who you're playing as. So if you run into a bar and you drink your face off and you're playing as Milo, and then when you switch to Lola and you try to talk to the bartender and talk to the same people, they'll have much different responses to you based on who you are.
One of the coolest things when I was doing research for this game is that although you guys are in hell, it's not just based off of those religions. You guys have a ton of religions that you're tying into this, all floating on the River of Styx. What was the decision for that?
We just wanted to kind of equally make fun of every culture, so
equal opportunity. Equality, it's 2018.
We just thought it was just more interesting to have it be kind of this kaleidoscopic montage of a bunch of different elements. We just didn't want to make it a game that was very focused on one particular aspect or one particular thought behind what hell would be like.
We also, I think we wanted to define our own version of hell, basically. So in Oxenfree, we saw a space that was like, nobody really owns ghosts, and so we were like, okay, let's make our own version of that. And then for our version of hell, we wanted it to feel familiar at the high level concept, but in every other way feel kind of brand new.
Sort of like showing that, okay, everyone's like a little bit right.
Right, exactly.
And you put beer pong in it.
And beer pong's in it, right.
Yeah, I mean, amongst every religion, beer pong.
Oh, and there you go. Yeah, you take a drink, and then the stuff starts to get blurry.
So there's a lot of activities in the game, and this is one of the things that we found building Oxenfree, that multiple actions together really are when the game was singing. And so in this game, these aren't siloed moments where it's like, I'm going to go play a mini game now. It's more like, I'm always playing the story, I'm always communicating, and then different activities happen. So I might have to get into a DDR match with some weird demon, and we are still talking through it, right? And you can mock each other or whatever. And also, we thought it would be interesting to not just always try to beat people. So maybe you're playing beer pong against a crime lord, maybe you want to throw the game and sweet talk your way through it. So really the dialogue system is intended to coexist with all these different activities.
And you have to be very observant as well, correct? It's not just you go into a time, like a playtime or QuickTime event, you have to kind of observe the bar around you and figure out who you want to talk to?
Yeah, there's a degree of that.
It's a delicate balancing act between having it be too strategic, because we want to feel like a crazy night out, and you're not planning to that degree when you go out. So hopefully it just feels more like a raucous, fun time where you're bouncing around between things.
Look Look at her chug that thing. Look at her put that away.
I love the use of foreground and background as well. That's really cool. A great design direction.
Thank you. Yeah, our art director, Ruel, has been working really hard on finding a way where you can, navigate a world in a 2D space, but just pack it with a lot of 3D space. And so there's a lot of things happening in the foreground and the background. In Oxenfree, it was a pretty sparse game. We had 4 characters on screen at most. This game has 40 people on screen at times, and you can interact with most of them. At a minimum, you're cheersing them. At a maximum, there's somebody important to you. So, yeah, we just wanted a game that really felt as ridiculous and unpredictable as a real night out drinking.
You guys were saying communication was very important, and one of the forms of maybe indirect communication is that you guys have an evil Twitter. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we have an evil kind of social media presence, so we get to pack in a bunch of jokes about how awful social media is. But it's used in the game kind of as both a quest-giving device and a quest kind of tracking mechanism too. But then also, it's just a really great way to show how the world is reacting to you. So it's like if you trip and fall or drink too much and wake up in a weird place, you'll see people's posts float above their head about what they're saying about you. So it's just a nice way to kind of always reinforce that the world is reacting to you and remembering what you're doing and posting it for the rest of the world.
But they're subtweeting you, essentially.
You're getting subtweeted, yeah. The other thing is it lets us show you things happening in other places in the world. So you might be in the middle of a bar and then find out, like, oh, Satan's house party, the line just got really short. Like, head over there now via some tweets. And you don't have to go dig through menus. You're seeing people tweet about it. And then, that also affords us the opportunity to let the player choose where they go and when. So we're going to make people miss a lot of the game, too.
Sweet, but it's not linear. There's a lot of things.
Linear,
so you guys can play this a bunch of times. What's the play time of this game?
Probably 6 to 7 hours.
Yeah.
And it was, that was a big goal for us design-wise. Like, we wanted, with Oxenfree, the story itself was pretty linear, but how you pushed and pulled at it was, very choice-driven. In this, you can miss huge swaths of this, and you have to go back and replay it to see that. So maybe an island sinks while you go to another party, and you miss an entire storyline.
Yeah. I have to say, I love that. I like that you can miss things in games if you're not careful, if you're not meticulous, or just you get bad luck or something like that.
Yeah.
I like there's consequences, and that if it's a great game, you'll replay it again just to see that stuff for sure.
It definitely was like a choice that we argued about a lot, where it was like, do you want to build 100% this thing, or do you want to have a wake of destruction behind you? And we went to that.
More fun to do sort of thing, so, yeah.
Sean, Adam, thank you guys so much. Unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, the Sony press conference is actually starting early.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you for showing us After Party. But to everyone in chat, it is now time for the Sony press conference.
welcome Sean Layden.
Hey guys. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for making the time tonight to come to church.
Пресс-конференция началась, давайте смотреть.
This fulfills your obligation for the coming Sunday, for those of you who need to know that. But thank you for coming out. It's great to see the congregation as large as it is tonight under this single tent. And for those of you who may be a bit apprehensive because you remember that movie Kingsman, it doesn't end that way. It doesn't end that way. So, but no, again, thank you. And as you can see from this evening, here again at PlayStation, we've decided to mix it up a little bit in the way that we're doing our E3 presentation this year. You know, we look at what the stories have we tell and the things that we want to impart to our fans here with us and their fans on the live feed worldwide. And that changes our design ideas around what we can do for this show. So tonight, we're going to have, rather than a bombardment of new creative, we're going to take all of you on a journey deeper into some of the key titles we've talked about before, but we're going to talk about them in a different way tonight, a deeper way, so you can learn about what's going on with these games and what's coming up in the future. You know, when we look at here at Worldwide Studios with inside Sony Interactive Entertainment, we really want to take our love for gaming and make it sing very loudly. It's a gaming industry, it's sometimes called, but certainly inside our studios, we see gaming as a vocation. It's a calling. It's what we do. It's what we have to do. Our teams of creatives and studios and designers, they have stories to tell and things they want to show you and places they'd like to take you. That's what we're trying to do here at PlayStation. This coming year is going to be all about those kind of games that we can deliver to you in a way that's going to blow your minds. And tonight, we're beginning here in this tent, this church tent we've created here in Los Angeles to let you start that journey with us and let us tell you our stories for the next hour or so. So without further ado, it is my great honor and my unique privilege to invite to the stage and introduce to you Gustavo Santaolalla.
Так будет. Сейчас, по-моему, будет этот, по-моему, как он называется-то? Кто делал мелодию к этому? К The Last of Us ко всем. Да. Да, это мелодия с первой части The Last of Us. Так исполняющий, наверное, банджо. Я просто слышу это. Божественно. Подожди, извиняюсь, что тебя перебиваю, но я сейчас немножко занят, ладно? Блин, это шикарно. Честно. Вот, Тимур, если ты тут, в принципе, ты можешь, если ты слышишь это просто, это божественно. Ей-богу. Сейчас тогда закончите хотя бы. Я тебе говорю, это реально шикарно. Ну прям это вживую еще. Ты, по-моему, за VC3 пресс-конференции я только 2 живых выступления видел рок-группы какой-то. 3. Это у Ubisoft Филармония играла. Потом вот сейчас Густава. И рок-группа на презентации Rage 2.
Went out one night to make a little round, the left little city and I shut her down. Went back home, jumped into bed, 44 pistol under my head.
Вообще какая-то. Кто это, Элис? Да, это Элис. Или как ее звали? Просто уже не помню из-за... Да я понял, как я не помню, Элис что ли звали? Кто помнит, скажите, пожалуйста. Я лучше загуглю. Что вас тревожите?
Your old man was in it.
What happened?
Another big lecture about my patrols. Don't go here, don't go there. It's funny how involved he gets whenever your soldiers go out.
Yeah.
She's putting on quite the show.
Maybe there's 2 weeks until we're back together.
Not gonna happen.
That's good.
She said something to you?
Make it 1 week. Ellie! Hey! What took you so long? Oh, I'm here, aren't I?
Yeah.
Jesse.
Hey, don't forget we're near first light, so get some rest.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
You're such a dick. Come on. Why don't you start with me? Okay, I have a very serious question for you. How bad do I smell? Like a hot pile of garbage? Oh. Okay. Oh. How about that? Gross. You love it.
То есть, да, это вот Гроус, девчонка.
Every guy in this room is staring at you right now.
Чувак, я потом знаешь. Да я восхищусь этим.
Not. Maybe they're jealous of you. I'm just a girl. Not a threat.
Если что-то я поддержу тебя. Окей.
Ellie. I think they should be terrified of me.
Окей. Вау, они тоже геймплейные части, прикольно. Они вот, по-моему, только поменяли вид камеры. Винтожку ты, по-моему, уже пропустил. Пропустил, не пропустил. Но это шикарно выглядит. Ответ просто-напросто. Я сейчас бы переиграл просто первый Last of Us.
Watch yourself.
Это же как-то слишком вылизанная картинка для игры.
Ethan. What? Wolf. She came through here. Damn it. Double back. Go.
Ну, вид врагов какой-то слишком одинаковый. Это бабу, которая она сейчас разделила, она была еще тогда, когда они дрались. И этот мужик, считай, также был там. Как видно. Геймплей какой-то слишком вылезанный, слишком какой-то специфичный. До сих пор не верится, что типа до такого дошел, типа. Реально красиво геймплей. Графика реального времени прикольная. Все равно. Это похоже больше как на трейлер, чем на геймплейную часть самой игры.
See, I told you. He should be terrified.
Классно, класс, часть вторая. В принципе, прикольно. Так, знаешь, типа, блин, часть ламповая какая-то. Мне очень понравилось, очень. Нам, в принципе, и до этого, типа, лесбия была еще, если вспоминать дополнение к этому, к The Last of Us.
That was a new look at The Last of Us Part 2. We're here live in Los Angeles at the PlayStation E3 Showcase. We're taking a quick intermission while folks move along to the next part of the experience. We'll have a little bit more to share on that later. And I am joined by my good friend, Ryan Clements.
Hello, Mr. Schumann.
How are you?
I'm good. It's such a pleasure to be here at the PlayStation Showcase. And it's going to be a huge night for Worldwide Studios a little later when the showcase resumes. And what better guest to have for joining us about Worldwide Studios than the chairman of Worldwide Studios, Mr. Sean Layden. Hello, sir.
Yeah, good to be here.
I thought you were just on stage. How did you get up here so fast?
We created this pneumatic tube that I was dropped into and shot right across to the studio here.
Right over here. Well, it's good to have you here.
Well, it's great to be here. And I think that was a very powerful start for our E3 program for this year.
That's right. There's much more to come, but I do want to zero in on The Last of Us Part 2 here just for a moment. You know, as chairman of Worldwide Studios, you work very closely with Naughty Dog. These guys need no introduction.
Indeed.
And I'm curious, from your perspective, where is their head at when it comes to developing this game?
Where's their head at? I mean, they are everywhere. They're looking at what can do in the next iteration of the Last of Us series, and I think what we saw tonight, I mean, that piece of content was so impactful. I mean, the whole relationship between Ellie and Dina going into the combat sequence really shows that they're pulling out all the stops over at Naughty Dog, and they're going to have a very broad and ranging game that's not going to make you only work at it as a player, but you're going to have to just think as a person what you're coming up against.
And I can't wait to see more of that. And that was first gameplay we saw there of The Last of Us Part 2, looking obviously incredible. And speaking of incredible, I mean, Worldwide Studios lately, I mean, it's just been unbelievable. Horizon, you had God of War, which needs no introduction, and Detroit Become Human. I mean, what is the secret, and what are you doing over there at Worldwide Studios? What's going on there?
Rule number one is do no harm, right? Right. In a lot of ways, my job is just to move the boulders out of the road to make sure that creative talent can get where they need to go. You know, provide backup, provide scope. You know, provide generalized, advice about where we can take this as an industry and as a gaming culture. But honestly, we've got 13 studios worldwide. We try to give them as much creative control as possible and just help support them through to their vision. That's kind of what we've been trying to do here for the last dozen years or so with Worldwide Studios. I think right now, certainly in the PS4 era, you're seeing a lot of that coming into play right now.
That's great to hear that. And I mean, speaking about making fans happy, I mean, I think there's a question that I've been getting a whole lot, and it has to do with God of War. You know, this is a celebrated game that's sold extremely well. It has a huge legion of fans. And one of the things I wanted to mention was, I get a lot of tweets about New Game Plus. You know, is this something that you and Santa Monica Studio are evaluating for God of War?
You know, it's crazy. With the advent of social media, we get a lot of real-time feedback from the fans and the community, and we listen to that. And God knows my Twitter feed is filled up with a lot of stuff that we could talk about here or not talk about at all. But it's all important. We take it all seriously. And New Game Plus is something that came through really strong and really hard through that kind of feedback loop. And I'm happy to say today that the teams are working on it, and we should have some more updates on that. We'll put that through the blog, but it's going to happen.
All right.
Definitely. As someone who miraculously finished God of War with a 2-year-old at home, that makes me very happy. I will somehow find more time. I will find time to get. He wasn't watching.
Okay, thank God.
I want to confirm that.
Kids don't try to know.
Asleep. But yeah, thank you so much, Sean. And it's great to hear that you and the amazing team at Santa Monica Studio are making that happen.
Hey, if we can create functionality and features that allow people to spend more time in the worlds we build, that's by definition a good thing.
Excellent.
Fantastic. So New Game Plus, that is confirmed. That is coming to God of War. We'll have full details on PlayStation Blog shortly. We have a lot more to talk about, too.
Yeah, and actually, Sean, I wanted to ask you about that. About a month ago, you did something a little bit out of the ordinary for our team, and you kind of came out and talked about the 4 main games that we would be highlighting tonight's PlayStation Showcase. I was wondering what the thought process was there.
Well, every year we try to let the stories we have to tell design the experience we're going to create. And this year we felt that what we really want to do is take people on a journey deep into the content, deep into the 4 big pillar games that we're working on right now, and get them to see a bit more about the stories you're trying to tell and the way it's going to be expressed and what they get out of it. It's a really wide range of titles there, anything from The Last of Us 2 we just saw right now through Death Stranding and Spider-Man and Ghost. So this year I wanted people to know that don't come here expecting to have some big flashy new idea come out or some big surprise come out. Come here and sit with us and walk with us as we get through to see the background stories and deep inside of the games we're working on.
Wonderful. And we do have a lot more coming from those Worldwide Studios games in the showcase later tonight. Do you have any personal games that you're most excited about?
Well, they're all fabulous, and I think the teams are really crushing it right across the board. But one thing I would say is there's one of the games that we're having out today that will be playable in 3 months and available in stores, and that's our favorite web slinger.
Of course.
Spider-Man. So we're going to see a lot of that tonight, and I think the folks at home should be happy with what they're going to get.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean.
Sean, thank you so much for dropping by. Always a pleasure to trade notes with the chairman of Worldwide Studios.
It's great to see you guys. I'll head back to the pneumatic tube station then.
All right, please do. And
wear the helmet.
We do have a lot more in store coming up in just a few minutes as the E3 showcase continues. But in the meantime, we also have some other updates for you while we wait during this short intermission. So I say we kick it off with a look at the latest from the world of Call of Duty.
Стрим прям резко остановился. Так, чё-то не то. Так, сейчас мы чекнем. В принципе, все идет нормально. Так, сейчас. Back in Black Maps.
Pre-order Call of Duty Black Ops 4 from PlayStation Store.
Типа карты из Black Ops 3 придут в Black Ops 4. Окей.
We've got some good friends as well.
Yeah.
Meredith Molinari and Ramon Russell. Welcome. What's happening? That's
good
right.
to have you guys back.
It's good to be back.
Friendly faces right before the showcase.
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent.
So I say we keep this moving here, and when it comes to Call of Duty, we know that a bunch of remastered maps from Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 are making their way to Call of Duty Black Ops 4 this October on launch day. But what we just learned here is that those maps, those classic maps, are coming
там
to
еще
Black Ops
типа Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2 и типа все остальные последующие.
3 as well. For those who pre-order Black Ops 4.
Все они возвращаются типа Black Ops 4.
What if I don't own Call of Duty Black Ops 3?
И так
Well,
будет
that's where it gets a
Black
little more interesting, my
Ops
friend.
3.
So
И типа если предзаказать себе Black Ops 4, то типа все карты
Black Ops 3 is coming
типа
to
карты
PlayStation Plus
вместе с Black Ops 4 типа перейдут в этом.
Very nice. This is why I love E3 because not only do we get to share awesome news with our audience,
При
but
этом
PlayStation Plus subscribers get a little tasty treat.
PS Plus раздают, будут раздавать сегодняшнего, ну, можно сказать, сегодняшнего дня Black Ops 3 со всеми бонусными картами и прочей темой.
That's right. We had the countdown to E3, and that was 5 game reveals and updates over a span of 5 days. A lot of great stuff announced. Let's take a quick look back at the highlights.
PlayStation VR, это с PlayStation VR. Вот это эффект. Вау, а это что такое? Days Gone. Days Gone, можно так сказать. Тоже игрушка про зомби-апокалипсис, но при этом очень масштабная. Ну, очень масштабная. Найти свою правду. Twin Mirror. Это тоже игрушка от создателей Vampire. Игрушка про животных. Тоже PlayStation VR. Призрачный гигант. Это сейбер под музыку, это ритм игрушка, где ты должен типа в одной руке у тебя красный меч, в другой синий, ты должен типа под музыку все это разрубать. Тоже прикольная, Beat Saber называется. Это для PlayStation VR все.
Welcome back. We're just a few minutes away from the E3 PlayStation Showcase. I mean, when I say a few minutes, I mean we're really So let's keep moving here. There was a lot of great stuff here. Oh, and we could see the crowd is seated. The people are about ready to go. This show's about to continue, about to move into the big event.
Yeah, it was great to see the countdown stuff, but I do think that there's like maybe one more thing we can sneak in there before we cut away to the showcase.
Yeah, let's squeeze it in. Let's squeeze it in. Okay, so this next franchise boasts a huge loyal community of nearly 6 billion hours. Incredible stat.
Yeah, they play that so much.
A lot. They do. And we're going to take a first look at the next chapter right now.
А это что за игрушка? А, Destiny это новое это дополнение, кажется, к нему показывает. Отвергнутые. По-моему, второе, что ли, дополнение к нему. Первое уже давно вышло. Музыка еще такая, типа, прикольная. Стоп, этого убили, что ли? Который предводителем был в Destiny, еще с первого трейлера, который... Жалко его. Реально жалко. Destiny 2 отвергнутые.
That was a powerful new look at Destiny 2. Forsaken is coming out September 4th on PS4. A lot of great enhancements and content for that one. And
yeah, it looks really good. There's a lot of buzz about that Gambit mode
Хороший
coming
новый
up,
взгляд
and
на
guess what?
Destiny 2.
not too bad.
But there's barely any time because we're about to get to the show.
That's right. We are really seconds away when it comes down to it from the rest of PlayStation's E3 showcase. Thank you so much for watching. We've got a lot more in store tonight. But for now...
I think it's almost time.
I think it's almost time. Should we get to it?
I think why keep people waiting? Let's get to it. We have so much more to cover.
Okay. Got a
Вот
lot
что
more in store.
хорошо, во время
So let's check it
E3
out live
половина
right now.
игр раздается бесплатно. Что хорошо. Это прям шикарно. То есть за весь E3 я дофига игр забрал, которые интересные. Так что... Но сегодня еще For Honor типа раздают, надо будет забрать. Ну, чтобы чисто была, чтобы... Конечно, по-моему, не пойдет она у меня. Ну, всякий пожарный нужно проверить будет. часть субтитров лучше отключу. Что-то про самураев связано. Тоже с геймплейщиком. Mongol Invasion. Монгольское вторжение, день 9. То есть именно второмонгольского ига, что ли? Типа происходит. Просто второмонгол до Японии дошли. Что это видно то, что Япония. Типа времена самураев и прочее. Отсюда Грейсленд. Это видно то, что это не геймплейная часть. Даже если это и геймплейная часть, выглядит как-то слишком такая, тоже красивая, как The Last of Us. Вот. Это там ни худо, ничего нету. Даже странно. Да, даже если здесь нет года, то если смотреть как геймплейная часть игры, то это прикольно, это красиво очень. Кстати, я ждал презентацию PlayStation, это чисто из-за чего? Смотреть на Death Stranding, который должен типа выйти уже в следующем году. И посмотреть на The Last of Us. Типа самураи у нас говорят на английском, монголы говорят на монгольском. Шикарно. Самурай. Чисто слэшер будет. С боевкой, как Бэтмена. Потому что видно, что типа контратаки вот такие, типа все пафосные слишком. И притом такой прям с расчлененочкой будет.
You're late.
You're impatient. Where's the monk?
The bastard beat me to him. Now they're torturing him at the temple.
Come on.
You think the monk's a hero?
We need him, Fasico. Now.
We can take them.
No. Remember Sago Bridge? We strike quietly. And we kill the monk.
Ну, игрушка выглядит очень красивая. Так, что у нас такое? Покачивается. Почему она? Это пиксельная получается.
I'll guard the exits. Just get that monk.
Ложка. Крепежка. Ну, те убийства, как в этом Splinter Cell.
Called reinforcements. We have to move. Masako!
Stand aside, Jin. You betrayed my family.
Run! If we fight, Mongols win.
They already won.
Ну, прям вот шикарный, бодренький.
You were my friend.
Give me.
Она очень пафосная игрушка, как видно. Даже типа вот самураи, прочая тема. Ну, прикольно. Очень прикольная. Особенно задники как сделаны. Типа листик зеленый, красный, который рассыпается. Сзади типа кто-то стреляет. Типа уже помощь пришла. Призрак Сушима. Прикольно. Чисто прикольная игрушка выглядит. Банан на гитаре. Прикольно. Чисто прикольно. Это что? Какой-то киберпанк, что ли?
Shifting place.
А какой-то киберпанк.
There are rules and rituals. You can keep traveling deeper.
Это не киберпанк 2077. Может и он. Ну, прикольно выглядит. Даже он даже как не киберпанк, а вот такой типа психологический хоррор. Да, фантастика. Типа как Quantum Break, что ли. Даже может не как Quantum Break, а как вот что-то с телекинезом связано. Control. Ну, трейлер прикольный. Можно было догадаться, что реально от Remedy, потому что похожи очень игры с Quantum Break'ом. Хоррор. Таракан. PlayStation 1. Пасхалочка. Пасхалочка. Томаты. А, это крыса была. Что-то пискнуло. Оу. Шериф департамента. Воу, Леон! Ты ли это? Что с Леоном-то не так? Я понял. Молчать сейчас, я хочу... Ну я понял, но Леон, что с тобой не так? Почему у тебя лицо слишком какое-то другое?
Whatever it takes to save this city.
Surprised you made it this far.
Need info on my extraction.
Так, пожалуйста, не перезапуск от третьего лица. Ну как было, типа, так, как с видом сверху такой, типа. Элис.
Impressive display of strength. But we never meant for this to happen.
It's coming back.
Resident Evil 2. Вау. 25 января 2019 года. Capcom. Ты заказать можешь сегодня. Мужик такой, а что вы делаете? Вау. Типа вселенная PlayStation, типа, который...
From Squanch Games and the co-creator of Rick and
Squanch
Morty.
Games.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Bathtub Guy, and we're here at E3 to take.
Что-то с Рик и Морти связано с Squanch Games. Типа, это как у Рика был, Squanch. И рисовка такая, типа 3D Морти. Даже чувак, который озвучивает Морти.
Part of the galaxy, because this is a sci-fi based thing. Help!
Я же сказал же, Тровер из Universe, я сказал, она похожа как этот Рик и Морти. Именно вот озвучкой и рисовкой. Да, хоть и такой слишком 3D, но... Похоже очень. Ха-ха, новый трейлер этого Kingdom Hearts. Пираты Карибского моря. Скажите Джека. 3D-сно Джека. Блин, он шикарен. Они шикарно сделаны. Именно третья часть этого Пират Карибского моря. Типа один из миров про Пират Карибского моря. С Kingdom Hearts. Это на странных берегах уже.
You back in the organization?
Yes. Surprising, isn't it?
Jack, don't you give this creep the time of day.
Sora, stand down. Just the count.
Только голос не Брэда Питта.
When said pirate offers to confabulate, I'm looking for a box. Get them!
Геркулес. История игрушек. Холодное сердце. Рапунцель. Скажите, это Kingdom Hearts чисто Диснееву посвященный. Лаборатория монстров. Корпорация монстров. Нет, это сейчас из чисто холодное сердце все сделано. Это финалка, да. Злодей из финалки.
Hey, Axel.
Hey, liking the look. Got your hair
Excellent.
too.
Kingdom Hearts 3. Я хочу первую переиграть часть на PlayStation 2. Если у меня была бы. Вау, прикольно выглядит. А это не коллекционка, именно издание Kingdom Hearts Edition. Вы че ж, серьезно? Переиздание Kingdom Hearts 2. Серьезно? Вот вы сволочи. Что это за спаржа? Дистрендинг. Кодзима Продакшн.
The man who delivers. Tears. Chirology. So, you have dooms like me.
И до сих пор непонятно, что будет за проект.
I've got the extinction factor, but I think you got me beat.
You can see them, right?
No, but I can sense them.
Wanna come work for me? Must be tough out here on your own.
I can't help you with that.
Игра Хидео Кодзимы.
That's all.
Просто как некоторые говорят, это будет что-то мультиплеерное. Мне говорят, что это что-то будет такое приключенческое. Да. Не Миядзаки, а Хидео Кодзима. Она реально красивая. Но это трейлер, это просто трейлер. Потому что не видно, что... Да-да. Каким-то светочем, что ли. И разные люди, разные люди. Да. Видишь, там есть, короче, вот этот, который еще из ходячих играет актер. Потом есть Гильмерио Дель Торо. Вот раз. И там несколько. Вот я двоих только видел до этого трейлера. Вот еще когда как раз таки играет, и он этот Гильмерио Дель Торо как раз таки играет. Вот еще. Вот совсем другой. Там их несколько, значит. Дай свою руку для жизни. Или предоставь свою руку для жизни. Он, видишь, у него покраснение, типа какой-то инфекции, что ли.
А это, кстати, чудовище поход только младенцев. На что наверх включил младенца, у него 2 раза посмотрел, когда он работал.
Спасибо. Блин, реально загадочная вещь. Хидео, что ты делаешь? Объясни хотя бы в одном трейлере. Просто, видишь, дистрейдинг, там 3 их трейлера, и не все непонятные. В одном трейлере... 4 трейлера. В одном трейлере показывали его, и типа он на берегу, и несколько светочей типа было. В втором трейлере подай свою руку в смерть. Или отдай свою руку в смерть. Вот. Потом второй трейлер, где Гильмерио Дель Торо несет ребенка типа на руках. И там показывает этот... Да. Нет, там типа война, разруха, он типа несет через какую-то канализацию, тут появляется отряд, который еще там, и показывается главу отряда, который этот играет из Доктора Стрэнджа, который еще так типа делает, и у него типа каска исчезает. Да, не на шнурах, а они типа, знаешь, что какие-то... Да. Потом третий, типа, вот этот актер из ходячих, он типа лежит, открывает рот, и у него типа туда внутрь, типа, этот... Внутрь как будто камера проникает, и там ребенок типа. Да. Нет, внутри мужика именно. Да. Типа ребенок поворачивается, и это обратно типа камера. Вот. Вот я не знаю. Вот. Подожди. Я хочу сам понять это. Это же очень загадочный проект. они как раз таки и были в первом трейлере, когда он этот лежал. И все равно непонятно, что за проект-то будет. Дистрейдинг. Игрушка, она, по-моему, 16-го года разрабатывается. Да нормально. Всё. Дистрейдинг. Ну хотя бы скажите, когда выйдет. Норман Рейн, Матс Микkelсон, Леа Сейднекс, Линдси Вагнер. Не знаю, не слышал. Подай свою руку в душу. Отдай свою руку в душу. Казима, пожалуйста, что ты делаешь? Объясни. Слишком сложно. Спасибо, Владос. Коуши Бусава. О, что-то за игрушка еще. Тим Ниндзя. Соль. Солик это еще лежал. Соус. Немножко. Что за игрушка? Что-то тоже про мифологию японскую. Да. А, Неон 2. Ну, в принципе, Неон 2 мне не понравился. Неон 2 мне, в принципе... Неон 1 мне не понравился, потому что... Рафт. Да, кстати, пожелайте приятного аппетита, если там даже смотрите уже... О, Человек-паук. Игрушка. Да. Человек-паук. О, этот как его Электро. Он хотя бы нормальный геймплей покажет. Сейчас если меня плохо слышно, сейчас я поправлю. Так вот.
Surprise! What is he talking about?
Hey, what's your status?
Me? Just trapped in a prison with every criminal I've put away in the last 8 years. No biggie.
Electro must be working for someone.
This is too good to be true. Scorpion, can you hold on a minute? I was in the middle of a phone call and it was business. Charge him! Don't let up!
Lost you for a second there. You okay?
Not really. Electro, Rhino, and now Scorpion are all on the loose. What's going on in the rest of the prison?
Camera system's almost up. I'll give you a sit rep soon.
Okay, I'll keep tracking Electro.
По-моему, так пойдет.
Come on, Spider-Man. I thought this was a chase. Gotta stop this guy. If you tell me who you're working for, I'll go easy on you. Can't stop me. But I'm flattered that you still try. Nobody ever takes me up on that offer. Long time no see. We're going to have so much fun. Sorry, no time to talk.
Okay, I got the security cameras back online.
How's it look?
Well, it looks like the entire population of the raft has escaped. That makes 5 of your worst enemies that are now on the loose.
For a second there, I thought you were serious.
I am serious. I have to go. Some of them are heading into the city.
This is nuts. Keep chasing. Party's almost over. Electro, stop! How do you like my new suit? Dashing. Where'd you get it?
А так.
It's an exclusive club.
Почему он меня не слышит? Как бывает такое, слышно? Где он там, что слабоватый? Негатив. Что, человек негатив? Сорок.
Remember, he said not to kill him. Good idea. In fact, we don't have to do this at all if you don't want to. We definitely want to.
Блин, носорог вообще какой-то... Знаешь, типа, броня у них какая-то капец какая-нибудь низкая. Танос, даже сделал кого пыльным. Не, лучше Танос. Снова The Last of Us. А, нет, это уже кончается. Блин. Вот эти, они милые. Они очень милые, вот эти, которые вот на барабанах или на гитарах. Они правда очень милые. О, это что за... А, это все?
That was the PlayStation E3 showcase. A lot to take in. There was a ton of great Worldwide Studios titles. We actually got a little more to share here coming right up. We're going to have first live gameplay of Marvel's Spider-Man right here, just a couple of minutes. We have a new game to announce. We have some other stuff to talk about too. What a show.
Oh my gosh.
Pop highlights, go.
Oh.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Showtime.
Oh my goodness, Ghost of Tsushima looked absolutely incredible. That color palette was insane.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with samurai movies?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Yeah.
Ready. I'm ready. Sucker punch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Meredith.
Oh, Resident Evil 2. Come on, RE2. That looked so good. I know a lot of us fans have been waiting for that one. And there was a moment where you're like, I'm not really sure I know what this is. And then as soon as he turned his head, I was like, yes!
And you get that
so good.
RE4 style over-the-shoulder camera action. It's kind of like the ultimate dream if they were going to remake Resident Evil 2. That's what...
Так, давайте пока выключим экран. Так, да. Ну, если честно, презентация PlayStation мне очень понравилась. То есть, если присмотреться, то она убила просто снова Xbox тем, то что она реально показала эксклюзивы. Она не показала то, что типа будет на ПК, где-то еще. Да, мультиплатформу она показала. То есть там, чтобы типа Kingdom Hearts, который там и на Xbox еще выходит. И все. И то, один Kingdom Hearts она показала, который выйдет на Xbox, потому что это мультиплатформа. Остальное она показала чисто эксклюзивы. Resident Evil — бомба. The Last of Us — бомба. Метро не показывали на PlayStation, я чисто PlayStation говорю. Потом Days Gone чисто там показали вот маленький этот отрезок, не геймплей, просто типа. Наверное, не собирались типа показывать, потому что она игрушка еще не допиленная, и еще при этом перенесли. Вот. Но факт остается фактом, то что PlayStation снова делал Xbox. Вот. А я сейчас немножко отхожу на покой, вырублю пока что стрим. И мы, наверное, вернемся в 9 часов, даже пораньше, где-то часов в 7. Немножко поиграем с чуваками из нашего Discord-сервера. В 8 где-то часов до полдевятого. Полдевятого начнем уже готовиться к презентации Nintendo. Знаете, у Nintendo будет, наверное, что-то няшное, что-то с Марио. Так что сейчас делаем так. И мы скоро увидимся. Все, давайте. Не засыпайте и готовьте больше вкусняшек. Все, давайте.